Sports 1440's Instagram. The show, as always, is brought to you by playalberta.ca, where everything you potentially could lose stays in the province, but plenty of opportunities to win. You can use code word SUMMER. You get a $50 free casino play with a minimum $5 deposit. Very simple. Put in SUMMER, deposit $5, you get $50 at the casino, and then, hey, maybe you parlay that into some fun over the weekend in the NFL, because there are tons of things you can do with that. Of course, hockey getting going, the Oil Kings in action tonight. We've got Golden Bears. We've got tons of things to get to on the show today. Just in a couple of minutes, we're going to be joined by Cincinnati Bengals running back Chase Brown. Later, Matt Barrett, Edmonton Oil Kings play-by-play. We've got Cameron Salerno of CBS Sports and Jason Gregor, also Spec and Alan Mitchell. But right now, let's get it going here. We do have the Cincinnati Bengals running back, Canadian Chase Brown joining us on the show. Chase, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Doing really good, thanks, and we appreciate you doing this. So obviously, game day right away here. You guys taking on the Washington Commanders Monday Night Football. So, Chase, very quickly, how young did you get into football? You and your brother obviously playing in Ontario before you go down to Florida for the prep schools. But when did you guys get into the game?
Yeah, good question. Probably when we were like 9 years old, we started playing flag football, and then quickly transitioned into like house league tackle football that kind of just like, you know, made us fall in love with the game. Like, you know, you got to run around and hit people and, you know, show off like your skills and energy. And honestly, dude, like that's where I remember starting off.
When did NFL become the dream? Obviously, I mean, you guys are getting recruited to go play high school football in Florida. That's probably a big step, thinking you might have a future career in this. But when did the NFL become very realistic for you guys?
I mean, it started as a thought as a kid, just talking about, oh, yeah, you know, I'd love to, you know, play in Miami. I'd love to play for the Seahawks, like just random little combos with my brother. But it started to get pretty real. I would say in college, especially when you're starting to figure everything out in college and really starting to produce and make plays and, you know, start to understand the game much differently than we did as young players. So that's when it started to become real. And I mean, once it becomes real, it really, you know, takes off pretty quickly. I mean, next thing you know, you're training for the NFL Combine. You're at the Senior Bowl, and then you're at the Combine, and next thing you know, you're already through your rookie year. So I mean, time flies once, you know, that dream kind of starts to become real. But overall, it's just been such a blessing.
Chase Brown, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. Now, Chase, I wanted to ask you, going from the CFL game, you know, you've got receivers in motion, linemen lined up a yard off the football. How tough was the adjustment to going down and playing American rules high school ball?
Hey, you know what? It's not too much different. I mean, you're on a smaller field, end zones are smaller, but you know, the game is, you know, pretty similar. I mean, yeah, not too much of a change.
You know, coming out of high school, I know you spent 1 year with the Western Michigan Broncos before transferring to Illinois. What was the recruitment process like for you? Did you have a lot of offers coming in?
Yeah, I mean, it started off slow, but actually my first offer was from Syracuse. And, you know, once you get one offer, everything kind of trickles in after that. And, I mean, I can't exactly remember how many I had, but I had north of, you know, 20. So, gosh, yeah, it's crazy even thinking back on that.
And I mean, you know, once you transfer over, you had a good year with Western Michigan, transferred to Illinois, obviously teammates with your brother, Sydney, who's doing great thing with the Philadelphia Eagles now. But, you know, it was a little bit slow. Your first year, not too many carries. You worked your way up. Obviously, I guess it would have been your junior year, over 1,000 yards. And then 2022 on a national level, you were crushing it. You rushed for 1,600 yards, 10 scores, won the John Cornish Trophy, right? Like, how was it that season, just with the attention gained and, you know, really putting yourself on the map with Illinois?
I put everything into that last year. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to achieve, and literally all of my energy and my focus from, I mean, Sunday to Saturday when we would play would be all football. And I sacrificed a lot, and just really just put all my focus in. And I mean, like, everything that came from the sacrifices were benefited me and really took my game to the next level, especially that last year where they relied on me heavy in the run game.
We're joined by Chase Brown, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in here. Now, what is the offseason training looking like with you and your brother? I can't imagine there's too many days where you're not really pushing each other, a bit of a competition or healthy competition at least.
Yeah. I mean, we trained together during the combine, and that was a lot of fun. But this past offseason, we kind of went our own separate ways. Obviously, my brother was recovering from a knee injury, and I wanted to just expand my game and, become a threat in different areas. I focused my whole offseason in the pass game, like running routes, releases, stride length. I, found a private coach that actually one of my teammates worked with, and, we went hard from February all the way up until training camp. So that was my main focus this offseason. But I think my brother will come out next year and kind of get into the same environment, but on the defensive side.
Now, obviously not the start of the season you guys would have liked in Cincy, but the talent around you is ridiculous. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. We hear that T. Higgins is back in practice. How was the week leading up to the Monday night game for you going in hosting the Commanders on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, we're confident. We've been in this place before, starting off 2-0, so nothing new to us. We're not scrambling in any way, but we're excited, man. Ton of energy this week. We're just looking forward to the opportunity to play at on Monday Night Football night game. Stadium's going to be packed. Like, we're all pretty hyped for it. So we just got to go out there and get the W and then move on to next week.
When you first walked into that room, any nerves looking at seeing, Joe Burrow, a guy who's been to a Super Bowl, won a national championship in college, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, like I've listed off, like some real star power in that room?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, as a rookie coming in, I mean, you're pretty starstruck, and you don't really want to. You feel like anything you say to them, you might bother them. But realistically, those are my guys now, and they, we all rely on each other in one way or another, and starting to love it here.
Oh, well, that's great to hear. Last question for you, Chase. I know you've been down in the States for a while now here. When it comes to the Canadian snacks, is there anything you're missing? If we were to send you down a little care package, ketchup, chips, coffee crisp, whatever it might be, what tops the list of things you miss the most?
Definitely the chips. Missing like the all-dressed chips, ketchup chips. I actually tried to put some of my teammates and coaches on, and they weren't really loving the ketchup chips, but the all dress were a fan favorite. And then candy, I'd have to say like the fuzzy peaches, and obviously the Swedish berries, and then those like cherry bombs. I forget what they're called. Like
cherry blasters, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to? Yeah, the cherry blasters. Those. So I'm missing out on those.
They don't have those in the States, eh?
No,
okay.
no, not fuzzy peaches. So
okay, all right, noted.
Maybe they should make the move.
If you get a random box of stuff showing up at the stadium, you know where it's from. We'll see if we can hook you up with some of those. Chase, thanks so much for doing this today. We really appreciate it, and best of luck on Monday night and the rest of the season.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you. Take care. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. There you go. Chase Brown, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. A big shout out to Barrett Slater for lining that one up and getting him on off the top of the show. Kind of caught me off guard. I was told 2:05 and bam, 2:00. Very punctual down in Cincinnati. And he's having a fantastic start to his career. Obviously, a 5th-round pick of the Bengals last season. Out at Illinois, he was doing big things. He and Chuba Hubbard representing Canada at the running back position. And he was also drafted, I want to say, 7th-round pick. See if I can confirm that. Yes, 7th-round pick in the CFL draft as well. So I don't know. Hopefully we don't see him up in the CFL for a while. But very cool. Glad to have him hop on this show today. As I was saying, still to come on the Jason Gregor Show. We got Matt Barrett, play-by-play voice for the Edmonton Oil Kings. Cameron Salerno is going to join us. He covers NCAA football for CBS. Big day tomorrow. Of course, we got Gregor at 4:00. We've got Spec, Alan Mitchell, Zack Lang of Oilers Nation will drop in at 3:20. Talk a little Oilers as the camp continues, and then the preseason. What the heck? It's here on Sunday. But we might as well bring in the man himself, our co-host for the next 3 hours on the show, Wanye Gretz. Wanye, good afternoon.
Thank you for having me, Connor. I appreciate the call. I appreciate being tapped in to the Avengers. It's exciting.
How'd you let you know?
Broke up my day of reading all the Diddy news, so that's good news.
That's probably a good thing.
It's a bit heavy.
Yeah, you got to get away from that every once in a while.
Used to love Diddy. Now we're not allowed. Can't
play his music anymore.
I'm embarrassed to tell you that when Wanye Jr. was 0 minutes old, we were in the hospital room together. I played him Mo Money, Mo Problems, and now I feel embarrassed.
Hopefully he doesn't remember.
Not good dadding.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't
had
remember
about
that
30
moment.
seconds of doing a good job until I started doing a bad job.
Well, hindsight,
I just want this Oilers season to begin so that we can focus on what matters, and that is players who don't have a chance at making the lineup throughout a way too long preseason.
And we can hype him up.
It's 1440.
Whoa, you see him?
Unbelievable.
Blank. Who are you looking forward to watching on Sunday?
Savoy.
That's the one, hey?
My boy, yeah. Didn't smile at his team photo, though, Connor. And you know how I am for smiling. I love it.
Who rips at me on Sports 14?
Maybe there's something to be said about that. You just want to set the tone. Like, I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to work. This is a work. This is a business for me, not fun.
He's very composed. Have you seen him interviewed?
Yeah. Well, we had him on the show last week.
You did?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Great. He came on twice. He was actually on
Twice?
once when he was with your Moose Jaw Warriors at the Mem Cup. He came on and his teammates barged into his room at one point. Didn't get rattled, held it together. So, yeah.
Composed.
Not worried about that. Preseason, of course. I think it might have been maybe a thing we used to do more so when the team was bad. Ty Ratty's going to be the big name that always
He's
pops
the
up.
answer.
But do you put any stock into the preseason, or are you like, this does not matter at all? The pros do not care.
I love the preseason because for a long time, it was our playoffs. I didn't have a lot to look forward to. Many Oilers fans may remember there was a certain decade.
Yep.
This year, though, I have no time for preseason, Connor. We've got at least 120 games ahead of us, not including 8 games in the preseason, a deep playoff run. Time is of the essence. I don't know how many roster spots are really up for grabs in the preseason. None?
Fourth line, third pairing, maybe.
Maybe.
When Ty Emberson's getting the first look with Darnell Nurse in line rushes, but Darnell Nurse isn't going to play for the first few preseason games. So
don't get me wrong. I think there'll be new players on the team, obviously. I just don't necessarily think that this is one of those preseasons where there's a bunch of spots up for grabs and you got a healthy competition for roster spots.
It's a good thing, though. Good teams don't typically have too many positional battles.
It's true.
There's some questions on this team, but I don't know. I think the team is pretty much set.
Is Skinner going to be playing in the preseason?
Stu, definitely.
Oh, there's 2 Skinners.
There's 2 Skinners.
Tighten it up, Wanye.
Budget wise, marketing wise, making money wise, there's a lot of people that are probably going to go buy some new S Skinner or J Skinner jerseys now too.
I love a good initial on a back of a jersey.
Are you going to get one?
A Stu Skinner?
Or
if I was going to get a Skinner,
Jeff.
with all due respect to Jeff Skinner, who I think is going to be a legend, if I was going to get a Skinner jersey, it would be a Stu Skinner.
I like it. Thank you guys for watching today. I'll just reintroduce herself. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz here. Jason participating with his old hockey team. We have an alumni skate today tournament. So he's busy. He's going to join us at 4 o'clock. We'll talk some Oilers, some NFL, all that sort of thing. We'll be with you though for the next 4 hours. Shout out to everyone tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram, Twitter. Just give us a like if you're watching on the old social media platforms. The text line 1-833-401-1440. It is the eWell inbox. A few texts rolling in here. Very cool that we had Chase Brown on. Yeah. The Canadians doing big things in the NFL these days. Chuba Hubbard, obviously. Got Joshua Palmer out with the Chargers. Javon Holland with the Dolphins. I think the Commanders got a couple. It is cool to see these things, start to happen. Canadians catching up in the world of NFL, especially getting recruited by prep schools down in, states like Florida. That's a big deal. Did Wanye win an Oilers 50-50 or something? Now he just spends his days reading celebrity trash and talking Oilers. Like, what is going on with this guy? He's a man of mystery, Sean says.
Sean, if you're a fan of Oilers Nation, you know I've never done anything constructive with my life. If anyone needs somebody to drop everything and come do AM radio, it's me. I'm ready. You call me, Connor.
Don't even have to give you a big warning. Just
not even at all.
Flash the light.
I texted 4 people. It's not happening tomorrow. I'm doing the radio. And they said, oh, good. And nobody was upset.
Rod said, Skinner is not a good last name. Just saying. What makes a good or bad last name?
We have 2 of them.
Yeah.
That's fantastic news.
Skinner. Principal Skinner?
I'd love a third.
I don't know any more famous Skinners. I think there's a Richard Skinner that joins us from Cincinnati every once in a while.
Okay.
That's all I got. There's worse last names.
Way worse.
Ones I won't even repeat on air.
Really?
Yeah. Some bad ones throughout history.
Oh, I see.
But we don't want to get into that. I think Skinner's an okay last name. I did have a friend once who said you could tell if an NFL player would be good by their last name.
I'm a believer of this for NHL, except for Rico Fata. I thought Rico Fata's name was so cool. I'm like, this guy's going to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. No disrespect to Rico Fata. His name was cooler than his stats.
Yeah. Sven Butenshawn. Hello.
Lame.
No way.
No
Thick
offense,
name. Sven?
Really?
Butenshawn?
I don't know.
I
I
thought
remember
he-
him.
Jason Bonsignor?
Gangster.
Thought he'd
That's
be
a
the
good
real
name.
deal.
Yeah.
Bonsignor. Great one.
I'd like a 90-minute Jason Bonsinger documentary, Connor. Could you whip one up? Like the one they did with Alexander Daig on Amazon. Have you seen that?
No.
It's unbelievable.
But Daig was hype.
And it's a very interesting documentary. He went and played in Switzerland for a long time.
No, really?
And he's like, I wish I'd come here when I was 18 years old. I would have played my entire career here. And he's sitting on M's, so he doesn't care.
I think there should be a lot of pro players. Well, when they're done, go experience Europe.
Yeah.
Like, go do it for a couple of years. Strutty always said it was just an amazing experience. Money to play hockey.
And you can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, with all due respect to everybody in the AHL, and that's a really hard grind, and you're one league away from the top league. Would you say the AHL is the second best league in the world?
I don't know.
I think you can make a case.
You
for
could
it.
make a case. Yeah, you're one step away.
But the life in Europe is so much easier. My goodness, everything's so close, and you only play like once or twice a week. And
Yeah. They take care of you too. Yeah, it'd be very cool for those who have the ability. Josh says, not sure we need the letter on the Skinner. Are we going to be confused which one's in net? No, you're not. But I always thought you just make a little more money with people going and buying those new limited edition jerseys. Skinner from X-Files. Hello from Dave Q.
There it is.
I've only seen one episode of X-Files.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was the smoking guy.
I thought it was Scully.
Huh? Scully. No, that's the
Main character.
lady main character.
What's the other one?
Mulder.
Mulder, Scully and Mulder.
Scully and Mulder. And Skinner, I'm pretty sure. Skinner might be the boss. He's not the smoking guy. Smoking guy didn't have a name.
Only saw, the one episode. I will say this. When I was a kid, we would watch Simpsons and I think Malcolm in the Middle, and then it was bedtime. And that music freaked me out. So I would just book it upstairs and time for school.
So the other kids would watch, but you would run away.
My older sister and dad would watch. And I'd be like, nope, can't do it.
Self-regulating, Connor?
Just getting out of there. It's bedtime. Time to go. Ziggy Palfy. Great name. From
great
Classics. That was a very good one.
If I might just add for color that I have a Ziggy Palfy jersey at Nation HQ that's the wrong number from the Kings. And I was walking through the LA airport one time. They're like, Ziggy Palfy jersey, wrong number, $5. Snatch it off the rack. Don't like the Kings. Don't like Ziggy Palfy. Just thought it was good jersey value.
Interesting.
People always look and go, what's it that? You love Ziggy Palfy? I'm like, what are you talking about? No.
That's like my 2XL Terrell Owens Niners jersey.
Oh,
It was like $20 at Sport Check. I bought it. 15 years later, gave it to my buddy because he's a Niners fan.
it's an investment in the game.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have more open time. Get your text in, 1-833-401-1440. At 2:40, give or take, we got Matt Barrett going to join us, voice of the Edmonton Elks, as they kick off their season tonight. Cameron Salerno joins us at 3, talks some NCAA football. We got Zack Lang of Oilers Nation at 3:20, Gregor at 4, Spec at 5, and then Low Tide at 5:20, plus 5 questions at 4:40. Declan's questions. Will there be around Mount Rushmore? You got to stick around and find out. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
It all began in 2006.
Edmonton's premier live music and party venue was born.
Well, guess what? We're now legal age.
On the Rocks is turning 18.
Party with us tonight.
As we celebrate our 18th birthday.
Happy birthday!
Enjoy Sound Station.
Live music from the Arcana King.
And a chance to win $500 cash.
Thank you for an amazing 18 years.
On the Rocks.
OTR's 18th birthday tonight.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Ready to tackle your toughest tasks? Edmonton Kubota has you covered with the all-new M8 Series tractor with powerful 181 and 201 horsepower engines, Cummins power, and loader readiness. It's built to handle any challenge. And now, for a limited time, get a free 4-year extended warranty when you drive off with an M8 Series tractor. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Visit Edmonton Kubota today and power up your productivity. Edmonton Kubota, where power meets performance.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, X pages. And if you're watching on the old Instagram, check out Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz in with you today. Gregor back on Monday. He's also going to join us at 4 o'clock, 1-833-401-1440. That is the eWell inbox. Score with your power play partners at eWell. Get all your electrical needs at ewell.ca 24/7, ordering and shipping in Edmonton and across Alberta, ewell.ca. Of course, tonight is the Lotto Max worth $22 million. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Talking good names. How about this one? Toto Wolff. That comes in from Sean.
Come on.
He is the CEO of Mercedes F1 team.
Don't believe it.
You didn't name your little guy Toto?
No.
No, good.
Will you name your child?
Don't think so.
You're not going to give him a name?
Well, he'll have a name.
Just a number? A serial number and a barcode on his forehead?
Not Toto.
No?
Although it's growing on me the more I say it.
Wolf?
No.
Cool.
Animal names are tough.
You think?
I do think so.
I think hyena is pretty cool.
That's gangster, Declan.
Hyena.
Yep.
Don't
rule it out. Just don't say no right now. Just think about it.
We were informed by a few people that Skinner is slang for something in jail that you don't want to be.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not up to date on the latest prison lingo. I've lived my life on the outside.
Someone said Zdeno Cigar.
Great name. Remember Alex Sullivanov? And remember how he was Terry Crisp's son-in-law and they called him son-in-law?
No.
That was a fun year.
Someone said, wasn't Buffalo Bill a Skinner? I don't actually know that. His name was James Gum, so I don't think he was a Skinner.
Buffalo Bill?
Unless it was prison slang, but I don't know. Don't know for sure. The Edmonton Oilers kicking off their preseason schedule on Sunday, taking on the Winnipeg team. Obviously, for Winnipeg, you're probably not expecting too many stars coming out making the trip. That's usually the way it goes. And then it's a split squad on Monday, so similar fashion. Maybe a few of the Oilers' bigger names players make their way down the QE2 to Calgary to take on the Flames. Also a game at Rogers Place, 7 o'clock starts. Then a day off. You got a game on Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, then Friday, and then we get a real hockey to get the season going. Wanye, are you going to head down to any of these preseason games?
I could be persuaded, yes.
Might have to take a trip.
What are you thinking?
Anyone? I don't know.
They're all equally good to you?
If I had to guess, I would say maybe Monday against Vancouver, next Monday, the 30th. Trying to think, because that would be their 5th game. The next 2 games are on the roads in Seattle and Vancouver. So maybe the Stars don't want to make that trip. Last home game to get ready. And then you'd have a lot of time to actually be prepared. So I think that would be the one, unless you're going to fly down to Seattle or Vancouver.
For preseason hockey?
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Might be cheaper. Please tell us you've seen Silence of the Lamb. Joke right over your head. Oh, doesn't he eat skin? Buffalo Bill?
No, he wears it.
Oh, he wears it? Yeah. I saw it a while ago. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen, so joke right over my
You've
head.
grown up from that little boy who ran away when the scary music came on the TV.
Yeah, well, in some cases.
Now you're
Not
locked
all.
in.
Sometimes if it's a really scary movie, I'll go on my phone every once in a while just to distract myself. But yeah, he's living. Declan replied to Ed, I know this is for Connor, but I feel compelled to mention it's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Yeah, Declan knew. I thought he ate it. Did another character in that movie eat the skin?
Hannibal Lecter was the cannibal. Hannibal the cannibal.
Yeah.
It's a crazy movie, honestly, when you talk about it like this.
Doesn't he live in the hole?
Buffalo Bill does not live in the hole.
Connor,
but he
Connor, you're
keeps
missing key facts about
He
this
keeps
movie.
his victims in a hole to starve them so their skin becomes loose, so it's easier to...
Clarice
was the FBI agent.
She wasn't in the hole.
It was not in the hole.
I got to rewatch this film.
Yeah, you got it all jumbly wumbly.
I'm digging deeper.
On the other hand, Declan knows it way too well.
Yeah, almost shockingly well, hey? Maybe I should stop talking. It's a little indicting of me.
Maybe I'll tell you a quick story, Connor, here on the
Yeah,
air. One time I went over to a gal's house, like you do on a date.
Mm-hmm.
Second time I'd met this fine person in my life. She wanted to watch Saw. I'm not ashamed to tell you I left and never had a third date. I don't want to watch Saw for fun. What's the matter with people?
Would you, if you had a couple of drinks, be more inclined to watch a movie like that?
No, it'd scare me even more. I was like, can't we watch something that not criminal sociopaths would watch for fun? And then I left, Connor, because I do me.
Well played.
Thank you.
You will not be told what and what you cannot watch. You will just up and leave.
Nothing's more exciting than watching someone be terrified and hiding their eyes.
The Edmonton Elks in action tomorrow. I reached out to throw it out there to Carter, who does sales with the Elks, ticket sales, and he had told me that and this is as of 10 this morning, about 22,000 tickets sold.
Good show.
Expecting to get up to 25,000 by the end of the day. Plus, you get a good walk up because the weather's supposed to be pretty good tomorrow. And a chance for the Edmonton Elks to make a bit of a statement here, taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who are ahead of them in the standings, and they play back-to-back. So tomorrow at Commonwealth, next Saturday out in Winnipeg. And, the Edmonton Elks have got a few things go their way when it comes to the schedule. Teams around them in the conference losing football games. BC's off this week. I think the BC Lions are one of the more intriguing storylines in the league because what do you do at quarterback? They have Vernon Adams. They're winning games, Wanye. You tell me this. You don't even have to be a diehard football fan.
Oh, good.
They're winning football games. They lose a couple. Quarterback gets hurt. They bring in another guy. Make him the highest paid player in the league. They don't start winning. So you have a guy who is having historic numbers where there's got to be some loyalty. You bring in a new guy. It hasn't necessarily helped you. Can you tell me in all good faith there can't be a little bit of a divide in that
A
locker
1A,
room.
1B.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because if you're a vet on like the defensive side of the football, like you got to be leaning one way or the other. And I don't know that they're on a bye this week. Maybe they figure things out. I know Nathan Rourke's going to be the starter, but I think there might be some issues there.
Explain these Elks to me, Connor. Pretend as though I'm standoffish and I'm not ready to be hurt again, and explain to me and the casual listener why these Elks are suddenly new owner, incredible new team, despite being the same people as before.
Yeah, roughly. Chris Jones built this team, was let go. Jarius Jackson takes over as the interim head coach. He's showing people it might be a full-time. Leroy Simon, intern GM. To me, they were close to winning football games. Like they had a good roster. They lost, 4 games by last-second field goals. They were just making kind of silly mistakes. Maybe guys playing on edge. I don't know exactly what it was, but I think when Chris Jones was relieved of his duties, like it might have got a little bit lighter. They didn't win their first game, but I think things were starting to come together, and maybe it became a little bit more fun. Leroy Simon, general manager on the show, said like it was less beating each other up in practice, more coaching. So maybe that leans into it. And then you can't forget the elephant in the room, Trey Ford, who is one of the most dynamic athletes in the league, playing quarterback where he has the ball in his hands all the time. They established the run game. The offensive line started to play better. You know what that means. It's going to open up the pass game. It's going to make defenses be a little bit more hesitant to, send the blitz at all times, because all of a sudden he can bust a big run. And that's what Javon Leake did. Kevin Brown has done. Justin Rankin, a little bit more of a bruiser in the backfield, but wears defenses down. So their offense just found this balance where they can run the ball. It's open up the pass game. If Trey Ford does have to buy time for himself, he's got the ability to do so. And it's worked out really good. What does that do? That gives your defense more time to rest because your offense is staying on the field more, driving down. And that wasn't happening before. Like we were seeing 3 and outs. So the defense might get a stop, but in the CFL, we can see change of possession in 45 seconds. So they were right back out there. So I think just this offense starting to really find their gear. It's helped the defense get a little more time on the sidelines. 1, to talk about it. 2, to get rested up. And when they go back out there, they're ready to go after it. So I think it's just a lot of things that have started to come together for this Elks team. And they look good. If you don't have them in your top 3 right now, throw out what they did 2 months ago. But right now, the way they've been playing, like they're a top 3 team in the CFL.
And if the fan numbers are starting to turn the corner, if you've been an Elks fan in the last 5 years, 10 years, maybe now it's time to give them another shot. I
think so. Hey, some people are going to stick to their guns and say not going back since the name change. I think the new owner has won over a lot of people as well. I mean, he's not the most talkative, but he drove the little fire truck right through their sideline.
Right down the bench, Connor. What more commitment do you need to see?
That's a statement right there.
Fantastic.
So like that was awesome. I think we're kind of starting to buy into a little bit more. And I don't know. You tell me. Winning's fun. When they start winning football games, don't people want to go there and be around it? That's kind of what got me into it. I became a fan 2002, 2003. It was good football teams. We got Ricky Ray, John Avery, Mike Pringle was there, Terry Vaughn, Ed Hervey, Mookie Mitchell. Like it was good teams. That's kind of what got me into it. Singor Mobley. There was tons of guys. Donnie Brady. Probably thinking I'm missing a few more here. But AJ Gass. I'll just drop them in. Terry Ray. It's just really good football. So I'm hoping people get down there. You can buy tickets. Going to be good weather. Have a few drinks. 5 o'clock start.
Great.
So if you got a young family, you get home early. If you're someone who wants to go out and party, game's over by 8 o'clock. Hop on a bus, get on the LRT down to, I don't know, White Ave, Jasper Ave, where the kids are going these days. It's a great way to start your evening.
And if you're a family man and you want to party, bring a toddler to a bar.
Why not?
Who are we to say no?
Find a patio.
The Elks just won in this scenario.
Just get an Uber.
Yes.
That's all we request. Tiger says, put the lotion in the bucket. I know that's a quote from Hannibal.
I hope it is.
Wrong. It's a quote from Buffalo Bill.
But what's the movie called?
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. I know this.
It rubs the lotion on its skin, it gets the hose again.
Declan, you're terrifying.
It's a quote from Silence of the Lambs. Well, Declan's our like resident horror guy.
I've never seen him smile that smile before.
Every Halloween, I'm like, Declan, what should I watch? And like, what could be a one-word answer is like a 20-minute conversation about like, well, this is the best one from that series. Here's why. I love it.
You wouldn't have left my Saw date, would you, Declan? You'd have been like, this is a great way to spend an afternoon.
I would have been the Saw date. I would have been the one who recommended the movie.
Well, I would have left, sir. I'll have you
wouldn't
know.
have taken you on a
I'll
date with
have you
Doug.
know. I would have left. I would have packed up my stuff and left.
Is Dwight from The Office in the first scene referencing Buffalo? Declan, you thought that was Chainsaw Massacre? I thought it was Buffalo Bill.
It might. Well, it would have been It would have been Hannibal Lecter because the scene it was referencing was with the face. That's when Hannibal Lecter's in the ambulance in Silence of the Lambs. But I thought it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre because Leatherface obviously much more prominent in that movie and wears a mask made of human skin the whole time he's on screen. So that's what I thought. I don't know. Just spitballing.
Doesn't he make that weird sound too?
Yeah. So maybe you're probably right. I guess.
Feel like it's Halloween right now.
Wanye is a little worried here.
Moderately concerned.
We're bouncing around here. Ryan says, I once coached a kid named Talon. That's a kind of a cool name.
That's cool.
Do the chickens have large talons?
Eagles, you're thinking.
Eagles. Napoleon Dynamite.
Familiar with the film. I'm not familiar with the quote.
Isn't that the line? Do the chickens have large talons?
Declan, are you only a horror guy?
I was gonna say I'm not too sure on this one.
Napoleon. A couple of people, Todd, the Sign God, and Spruce Grove Corey. Just say Miro Shatan. Great name.
Yeah.
Playing for the Devils. Couldn't write it up any better than that. I think he's got a son now who was drafted.
If I'm not mistaken, Connor Halley, the year we drafted Miro Shatan, we also drafted a guy whose last name was Pope. And we drafted Pope and Shatan in the same NHL entry draft. There's one to think about.
Fellas, if we're talking great hockey names and even better nicknames, it starts and ends with Pat Falloon, whose nickname reflected his lack of conditioning. Pat Balloon. Did they call him that?
Oh, yeah.
I liked him. With the Sharks for a while?
Yeah. Remember he came to the Oil at the end?
Yeah.
I saw him out. I was like, that guy's not playing for the Oil.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Having a good time?
Oh, he's having a great time. But like it was the night before a game. I was like, we're not going to see him in tomorrow. And we didn't. I think, how was his return to the Oil? I think he had a little bit of luck, didn't he?
I thought so.
Yeah. Just this was preseason. In those days, too, Connor, preseason went forever.
Jeff the Ref says, hey, fellas, as a Yorkton, Saskatchewan resident, we're all very familiar with a good puck-moving right-handed defenseman in Caton Korzak, who seems to be a bit buried in Las Vegas depth chart, low cap hit, and a first-rounder ready to play 4 to 6 role. I think that came in during Low Tide show. And then he also said, I've worked the lines for 26 years. In all that time, the best hockey name has to be Darren Chakotko, Alberta boy. Sounded great when the play-by-play guy said it repeatedly. Darren Chakotko. There's some good names out there. Trying to think of my favorite.
There's some crazy names in the NBA and NFL. When I hear people talking NFL, I'm like, that's fake, right? They're like, nope, that's a real player. There is some crazy NFL names.
The Key and Peele skit coming to life.
What's that?
I'll show you during the break here.
Okay.
It's a good one. Team that can't win close games is a fraud, says Walter.
Sure.
Well, Walter, yeah, that was the start of the season for sure. They couldn't win close games. They were making mental mistakes, right? Like it wasn't even like they were getting beat badly in plays. Like they were doing stupid things to put teams within field goal position. And you know what they've done in the last month? Figured it out. So yeah, to start the year, it wasn't good, but they were close. So to write them off back then, I thought was a little premature. I said it multiple times. We can go in the log. I said, when they figure it out, they're going to win a bunch of games. It might be too late when it starts to happen, but I don't think it has been. And yeah, they're starting to look a lot better. Keith Kachunk for the wins, says. Plexico Burris. Great name.
I looked up the NFL's all-name team. There was a guy who played for the Lions named Chuck Long, and he was the QB.
Chuck Long.
In 1986. You know him?
Yeah. No, I don't. But there are multiple Longs in the NFL.
Well, Chuck
Howie Long, Chris Long. Tasha says ULM quarterback General Booty. There's a General Booty too. Yeah. Then
it's not.
HVAC Nick as well. General Booty.
Why would you do that?
They play Texas this week, so he's going to get the stud. It's going to be General Booty versus Arch Manning.
If you're Mr. and Mrs. Booty and you're thinking about getting married and you're sitting down and you're planning out your booty life together, you can't name your kid General. You're just stacking the deck against the poor little guy right off the jump. Look at the mountain he had to climb to get into the league. Well, maybe he needed that.
He went viral a couple of years ago for the name alone, I think.
Well, one would assume maybe he needed that. If his name was Ted Booty, he wouldn't have gotten into the league, Connor.
That's what I think. There was some adversity he faced, and he 100% overcame it. We'll take a break here. Lots of good names. Keep sending them in. We'll get to them at some point throughout the afternoon here. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Still to come on the show, Cameron Salerno. We'll talk some NCAA football. Gregor will be by at 4. Zack Lang from Oilers Nation. Spec and Low Tide. But coming up next, we'll talk about the Edmonton Oil Kings as they get their season going. Tonight, Matt Barrett, play-by-play for the team, will join us. That's coming up next here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program.
It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Are you afraid of losing your car or home due to debt? Don't let fear or shame hold you back from seeking help. Bankruptcy is not the only option. A consumer proposal can reduce your monthly payments, lower your overall debt, and allow you to keep your assets. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I'm here to help you tackle your debt. Take the first step towards regaining control of your finances. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
UL Studios here in West Edmonton Mall. We're the real power place to shop. UL.ca for all your electrical needs. Online 24/7. UL.ca is your partner in power. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, we will go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in projects, service, tag, and solar for commercial or residential. Contact them today at actionelectrical.net. We bring in Matt Barrett, the voice of the Edmonton Oil Kings, as they are set to kick off their season tonight. Matt, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, gents. How are you guys?
Doing very good, thank you. You're down in Lethbridge, Hurricanes and Oil Kings tonight, 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow, Medicine Hat. That should be a fun one for sure. But Matt, this is your first year calling games for the Edmonton Oil Kings. You can be heard on iHeartRadio. For those who might be curious, what led you to the Edmonton Oil Kings? What was the journey like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an Edmonton boy, born and raised. So, I grew up watching the Oil Kings and winning those championships in 12 and 14, their first couple there. And, I thought it was the greatest thing going to those games. And when I started doing play-by-play, I was in Saskatchewan for a few years. And this past offseason, when the opportunity came up to possibly call games for the team I grew up watching, was hard to, hard to say no. So, it's pretty special that I'm in this opportunity now. And, I've spent 7 years doing play-by-play prior to this. And just to be able to come back, it kind of feels full circle. It's pretty awesome.
So the Edmonton Oil Kings, the last couple of years, obviously, we know how the cycle goes. You really contend in the fashion that they did. You win championships. Ideally, you get a chance to go play in the Memorial Cup. And then it is a bit of a rebuild. And the Edmonton Oil Kings, the last couple of seasons, have gone through that. But going into this year, what do you think the expectations are for this team?
Well, it's taking those next steps, right? I don't know if you want to put the cap on, we need to make the playoffs or something like that. But the idea, I think, is to take that next step forward as a team. And in this rebuild, there's a lot of young and hungry players coming up that are looking to make their mark on the WHL. And there's still a few vets on this team from that 22 championship to help those guys along and even continue to prove their worth in this league as well. And, I think as you take those next steps, they were about a 500 team after about January last year. So, if they can continue to build off that, I think that's, where you start. And, the wins will come if you continue to kind of improve each day and improve each week and things like that. And, with some of these young players, I think that's where you're going to see it's kind of going to be a gradual build with this group. And, hopefully it'll end in a deep playoff run.
Now, how many players do the Oil Kings have in NHL camp still?
Well, there were 7 that left, and now 5 are still there. Reese Peterson was at Oilers camp. He's back, and Colby Hay was in Los Angeles. He has since returned as well. So, some key pieces still at Oil Kings camps, including, Adam Yeko and Miroslav Holinka. Marshall Finney has stuck around in Toronto as well. And, so guys like that still out of the lineup. Grayson Sachin's in Florida. As well, and Parker Alkos is in Vancouver. So, some big pieces out of the lineup, but this team's got some depth to hopefully, pick up some slack here for a few weeks.
Now, one of the guys I think a lot of people will be watching, name recognition going to be big. We saw his brother get drafted. Now, Joe Aginla, rookie this year. We saw him in spurts last season. What are your expectations for Joe?
Man, he's exciting to watch. He's looked really good in preseason. Led the team in scoring in the preseason. So, he's a guy that, likes to shoot the puck, likes to score. That's, just on the ice. He's kind of an electric player, right? And off the ice, he's a great kid. He's confident. He is, extremely mature. Always got a smile on his face. It's really exciting to see what he can do in this league as a 16-year-old. He had 5 points in 5 games last year as a 15-year-old. So being able to produce like he did, I think expectations are high, but at the same time, he's 16 years old. There's going to be some growing pains, I think, at times, but he's an electric player that, fans are going to be really pleased to be able to watch for a few years.
We're joined by Matt Barrett, the voice of the Edmonton Oil Kings. They kick off their season tonight down in Lethbridge, taking on the Hurricanes just after 7. Then tomorrow in Medicine Hat, another big blue liner I want to look at here, rookie. My apologies if I mess up the name here. Noah Amu.
There you go.
Grew
That's
up
pretty good.
grew up in San Diego. I've got a little bit of a story because there's some connection with one of the people I grew up with to his family. But for those who don't know, maybe you could just run down how he got to the Edmonton Oil Kings and what you expect from him.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's hockey is kind of one of those small world things, and he was part of that U.S. draft. The Oil Kings were able to get him pretty early a couple of years back, and his dad is Ed Ta'amu, who was drafted into the NFL and spent time on practice squads and things like that. And Noah is definitely big, played a little bit of football as well, so he's exciting too because it's not very often you see a guy of his size and even the ability to skate for his size too, on the blue line. And you want to have those guys on your team. So it'll be pretty exciting to see Noah and what he can do as a young player in this league too. Him and Joe are the 2 first-round picks there in 23. So some young 16-year-olds looking to make their mark.
16 years old, 6'2", 230 pounds. You guys going to be a beast on the back end there for the Oil Kings. Anyone else you're looking forward to calling this year?
Oh, I mean, just you go up and down the list. There's some, electric players. I mentioned the 2 Euros from Czechia and Yeko and Holinka. They're going to be exciting to watch. And Grayson Sauchin makes you jump out of your seat every time he touches the puck. And same with Gavin Hodnett too. Gav is possible. There's a chance he leads the team in scoring for a 3rd straight year. He's electric too. It's pretty exciting to see this team grow and see kind of where they're headed. And you mentioned that blue line and Parker Alcoast. It was a drafted player, and Reese Peterson, that 06 core, and Blake Fiddler, captain Team USA at the Holinka Gretzky. I could continue to name names, and I think this team's kind of calling card will be its depth and ability to score kind of up and down the lineup and defend hard as well with 5-6D every night.
The team will be taking on the Medicine Hat Tigers on Saturday, like we've said. Eventually, Caden Lindstrom, but Gavin McKenna, are you excited to see this kid? Because by all accounts, he's going to be an absolute superstar this year and probably going forward for the rest of his time in Medicine Hat.
Yeah, I've seen him last year as well. It's ridiculous what he can do. He skates so well. He's a playmaking machine. And I think the thing that's underrated is as the year went on last year, I think his defensive play improved. So, he's more of a two-way player now, and a year older, he's going to wreak havoc on this league for a while. And, having players in this league like that is good for the league. And, he's going to be difficult to defend for a lot of teams for a couple more years.
Well, Matt, really appreciate you doing this. Appreciate the rundown. You guys can be heard on iHeartRadio Oil Kings channel. Getting going tonight at 7.
You betcha. It's going to be a fun one. Hopefully everyone tunes in, and then home opener next weekend on Saturday at 2 p.m. against Calgary. So that should be a lot of fun too.
Great. Can't wait for this, Matt. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Connor.
There you go. The voice of the Edmonton Oil Kings live from Lethbridge. Never been to Lethbridge. Great town, I've heard, though. Matt Barrett. Have you been to Lethbridge?
Home of the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Love a good Hurricanes game.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice. How about Medicine Hat?
Home of the Tigers. I've had less positive experiences. I can't really think of anything.
I hear it's a heck of a town.
Is it?
Like, not in a good way.
What do you mean?
I've heard it's kind of boring. That's all.
Oh.
I've never been.
Odd name, Medicine Hat.
Last time you and I did a show together, we really got into Medicine Hat.
Don't make me do it again.
I don't think we need to do it again.
Strange name.
HVAC Nick followed up about the General Booty. General Maximus Axel Booty.
This can't be true.
Nephew of former NFL quarterback John David Booty, who I do recall played at USC, and former Marlins third baseman and quarterback Josh Booty.
Okay, but like Josh Booty, I can see because some people married into the Booty family. It's General Maximus I'm having issue with for the first 2 names.
Just on the topic of names, and then also Joe Aginla, who's going to probably light it up for the Oil Kings this year. Do you know Jerome Aginla's full name?
No.
Jerome Arthur Lee Aginla, but okay, Arthur Lee Elvis Edekunle Jerome Tej Jr. Aginla.
What?
Arthur Lee Elvis Edekunle Jerome Tej Jr. Aginla. Unbelievable name.
See, I would say something, but it's Jerome Aginla. He's one of those guys that will smile and then beat the living life out of you.
Yeah.
So I can't say a word. That's great. Good
Absolute
job.
stud. One of the few Flames.
The only Flame I respect.
Gotta respect them.
That's it.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk some college football. We'll be joined by Cameron Cerno from CBS Sports. Will young Declan get in on this conversation as well, as he's a pretty big fan of the college pigskin? But first, an update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. With no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update. The Ottawa Senators have an agreement to build a new arena in downtown Ottawa. The Senators and the National Capital Commission announced the agreement at a joint press conference today that would see the Senators purchase a 10-acre plot at the downtown LeBreton Flats for the development of a multi-purpose facility, including an NHL arena. The New Jersey Devils have signed RFA Dawson Mercer to a 3-year, $12 million contract, and in the NBA, Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed to a 3-year, $192.9 million maximum contract extension that guarantees the former MVP a total of $299 million through the 28-29 season. The Baltimore Ravens have signed running back Justice Hill to a 2-year extension worth $6 million today, keeping him under contract through the 26th NFL season. And the WHL gets going tonight. The Edmonton Oil Kings in Lethbridge to take on the Hurricanes, a 7 p.m. Mountain puck drop for that one. One final from earlier today in the MLB, it was the Cubs over the Nats 3-1 and getting going at 4:50, the Toronto Blue Jays in Tampa to take on the Rays. Jose Barrios on the mound in that one. Coming up in hour number 2 of the Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley, we will be joined by Cameron Salerno of CBS Sports and Zack Lang of Oilers Nation. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's #1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Herrenschwiener. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhauk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhauk beef jerky today, because you don't win friends with salad.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
It all began in 2006.
Edmonton's premier live music and party venue was born.
Well, guess what? We're now legal age.
On the Rocks is turning 18.
Party with us tonight.
As we celebrate our 18th birthday.
Happy birthday!
Enjoy Sound Station.
Live music from the Arcana King.
And a chance to win $500 cash.
Thank you for an amazing 18 years.
On the Rocks.
OTR's 18th birthday tonight.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Your furnace can die in the blink of an eye, usually on the coldest night. So why take that chance this winter?
Furnace Family, ATCO's newest home service company, can help. Not sure of your furnace's condition? We can check it for free with the purchase of a new furnace, giving you peace of mind and total comfort all winter long. Daikin offers lifetime warranty on their furnace heat exchangers. It could be the last furnace you ever buy. So call Furnace Family Home Services by ATCO today. Jingle time.
Done right, they are right. FurnaceFamily.com.
Precision, excellence, and service may be words that get tossed around a lot. At CVS Controls, they represent a lifelong dedication, and they prove it with high-quality products for the process control industry. Control valves and trim, valve automation, actuators, pressure controllers, regulators, centrifuges, all designed to be interchangeable with the industry's leading brand. CVS Controls, serving the Alberta oil patch for over 40 years, and a proud sponsor of Black Gold on 840 CFCW. Visit cvs-controls.com or call 780-437-3055.
That's the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Also, Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, X, and Sports 1440 Instagram. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Kate the Great with you here, keeping you on track this Positive Friday edition of the show. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line. The show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, this weekend, lots of fun to be had. You got college football tomorrow, the NCAA. Always fun to mix a parlay together. Maybe bet the over on some of these games. Then on Sunday, you got the NFL with a full slate of games as well. Use your game sense, but go have some fun. PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, we're going to get to our big guest of the day. Brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. Their home opener is tonight at the Grant Fuhr Arena. They'll host Penticton. Get your tickets at the door or sgsaints.ca. We bring in now Cameron Cerno of CBS Sports, covers NCAA football. And of course, it's going to be a fun one tomorrow. Cameron, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Football season is back in full swing, so it's always good. I know we talked right before the season opener for college football, so got some NFL, got some college football going. It's life's good.
Cameron, I think if I were to ask you this question, one name would be FSU, but who's been the biggest surprise for you so far this season?
Hey, I will say I did pick Florida State. We went through a group panel at the beginning of the year. Which top 10 team will finish unranked at the end of the year? I picked Florida State. I said they were due for a Super Bowl-esque hangover, and obviously that's the case, but I'll go with Michigan too. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a surprise just because of, how much production they lost to the NFL, and also losing Jim Harbaugh to the NFL was a pretty big deal as well. I know they have a huge game against USC, but I mean, they just looked in a different weight class against Texas a few weeks ago. And I think USC, it's a huge opportunity for them. They have kind of struggled historically. I think they're 2-15 against top 25 opponents and on the road in the last, I forget how many years exactly, but Lincoln Riley, he's kind of been up and down against top 25 opponents. So it's a huge statement for USC potentially, especially playing at the Big House in their first Big Ten game. So I'll say Michigan and Florida State. I mean, both teams have kind of been, surprisingly bad.
Now, we got some great games actually getting going tonight. Stanford heads to Syracuse. We got number 2 Nebraska taking on number 24 Illinois. And then also a battle of the undefeated San Jose State, Washington State. When you look at this full slate of games across the country, are there any that stand out to you maybe tonight or tomorrow?
I mean, I say Tennessee, Oklahoma. I think that's kind of probably one of the best games of the whole entire weekend, just because it's obviously a huge opportunity for Oklahoma as their first SEC game as well. And then obviously Tennessee, I think they're kind of looking to make that statement. They've looked really good. I mentioned before in week 1, I think you asked me about who I think would win the Heisman this year. And I said Nico, I think, is a dark horse. And he's played phenomenal so far. So he's definitely in the conversation. And I think Tennessee can kind of take that hype to another level if they play well on the road against Oklahoma. So that's a game I'm really looking forward to watching, just, as a fan, just to see, hey, how does Oklahoma look? Because they've kind of been a little shaky. I know they struggled a few weeks ago. I think it was against Houston, and they kind of, had a so-so performance against Tulane. So I'm literally looking forward to seeing how they perform this week. But I think Tennessee, it's another chance to make a statement for them. And then obviously, like you said, you mentioned Nebraska, Illinois. That's a game of 3-0 teams tonight. And Dylan Raiola, Nebraska's star freshman quarterback, he's one of the only freshman starting quarterbacks in college football right now. True freshman, that is. So he's looked really good. So I think it's a chance for Nebraska to make a statement. If they can win that game, they'd be 4-0. And they'd kind of be knocking the door of, hey, like we're in the upper echelon of teams in the Big Ten.
And just for anyone who doesn't know, if they've seen the social media clips of that college kid who looks like Patrick Mahomes, jumps around like Patrick, that is Dylan Raiola, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
I want to jump it back to last week really, really quickly for a second before we talk about some games here, Cameron. Mark Stoops' decision to punt on that 4th and 13, his own 48 with like 3 minutes left against Georgia. Like, you're 20-point underdogs. Like, play for the win, act like it. Like, what do you make of Mark Stoops' decision to punt that ball and then to come out and defend it after the fact? Like, that was, I thought, a winnable game. I don't think Kentucky looked great, but it was a winnable game. Like, Georgia wasn't playing their best ball. They were right there, and they punted. Georgia effectively gets to run out the clock in the game. Like, what did you make of that decision, and what do you think about Mark Stoops standing by it?
I just think it was ridiculous. If you're playing the number one team in the country at home, you're playing a team who's won 2 national titles in the last 3 years. You're playing a team who, you're a 20-point underdog, like you said, and you have an opportunity on 4th and 1 to go for it. I mean, if you don't get it, who cares? You're probably going to lose anyways. And so for them to punt that football away, I just thought they were playing scared. And I was disagreeing. I had a few buddies over watching the game while I was working this past weekend, and I think all of us were flabbergasted that they would punt the football because you have to go for it. You have to. I mean, there's such thing as trusting your defense to get a stop, and I know it kind of was a defensive-minded game because it was so low scoring. But at the same time, you have an opportunity to extend the game and also kind of put it in your own hands, and then instead you trust your defense and you punt that football away. So I thought it was soft of him to kind of do that. I personally would have gone for it. I think every single analytic metric would have said the same thing. And like I said, at the same time, like if you get the first down, you have the momentum and you can go score and win the game. So I thought it was a foolish decision by them to punt the football. And honestly, if you asked their offense, I bet they probably would have went for it as well. So just a questionable decision at best. And also just, it was a really good game. I mean, like I said, when you have a chance to knock off a number one team in the country, especially of Georgia standing, who, they've been so dominant. I mean, I forget the exact numbers off the top of my head, but like their win streak against SEC opponents, their win streak in the regular season, like it goes back, I think, to the 2020 season. So for them, I think it was just a missed opportunity and, something that they might not get again because, you have the number one team in the country on the ropes, and then for them to not take advantage, I thought was real foolish.
Cameron, number 1 Texas taking on UL Monroe, and Arch Manning certainly getting a lot of attention. Obviously, the last name is one that really helps, and he's someone we followed throughout the recruitment process. But, he showed he can play when he gets on the field. What are your expectations for this game, and more specifically, Arch Manning going forward here?
Arch Manning, like I said, he is one of the most highly touted recruits just based off his last name and recent memory. I mean, off the top of my head, I think the only comparison I could really give, and it's a really different comparison just based off skill level and sport, is Bronny James, just because, there's not really, obviously you see, former NFL players, either their sons or, nephews or something like that. Like they're playing like in college football or the NFL. Marvin Harrison Jr., like, for example, like that's one name, but like, I don't think the Manning name is synonymous with just elite quarterback play. And I think Arch Manning has a lot of hype. I know a lot of people have made, hey, is this a Tua, is this a Tua Jalen Hurts thing? Which I don't think it is at all. I know some people brought that up, but I still think Quinn is the undisputed starter at Texas because, Quinn has proved it. I mean, in his own right, Quinn was one of the most highly touted recruits coming out of high school, and he skipped his entire senior year. And so I still think there is opportunities for Arch to show that he is the guy, moving forward. But I would, place I wouldn't place these highly touted expectations on him right away. I mean, this is going to be his first career start, and I think only his think, 4th game he's ever, appeared in. I know he played a lot last week, played a little bit in the season opener, and then played last year versus Texas Tech. So I think people just need to lower the expectations just a little bit on Arch, but he's a phenomenal player. He definitely has the running aspect to his game, and he's just a fun player to watch. So it'll be good. And I think Texas is making the smart decision to sit Quinn just because it is an injury, but they should win that game by 20, 30 points.
Now, Cameron, I'm a huge fan of once we get down to the NFL draft process, watching the combine. And I kind of go back and I look at players from there that I might have missed. And this guy's a couple of years away, I think, from entering the NFL. But what do you think of Nick Harbor of the South Carolina Gamecocks? I look at him like 6'5", 242, playing the wideout position. And I guess I'll relay that to asking, when it comes to NFL pro-ready receivers this year, heading into next season in the draft, who do you think stands out to you?
Luther Burden.
Oh, Luther! Dude, this brought. I'll start off by saying I think he was a very popular name on social media as far as, hey, if you're running a college football dynasty and college football 25, this is the guy you want to go after. I think he has like 99 speed, 90 acceleration. Like, he's a really, really good receiver, heck of an athlete. This wide receiver class is super fun. Obviously, you have T-Mac at Arizona, who I think is going to be the best receiver. You have Travis Hunter if he decides to be a receiver. I know it's kind of the biggest talk. Hey, is he going to be a corner in the NFL? Is he going to be a receiver? Then obviously, Luther Burden is also another huge another name. But I will say this true freshman receiving class is going to be really, really good. I mean, Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State is amazing. Ryan Wingo at Texas is really good. Ryan Williams at Alabama is a stud. So the receivers, I think, coming up are going to be better than the receivers, even in this draft class. I mean, the draft class coming up is really, really good. But I think the receivers who are, going to be draft eligible in 3 years are going to be even better.
Cameron Salerno, CBS Sports, joining us. I want to jump to some of the games this weekend. You talked about it a little off the top, USC, Michigan. Like, Alex Orji, I think, is going to get the start. I have to imagine, Donovan Edwards is going to carry the ball like 100 times in that one. I think D'Anton Lynn has the USC defense firing at a level I didn't expect. I don't know if Donovan Edwards is not running behind the same offensive line that won a national championship. I know Sean Moore was a part of the coaching staff, but he's not the same coach that won a national championship. Like, I look at this one, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I look at this as a pretty easy victory for USC up in the big house. Like, I just think Miller Moss has been incredibly impressive for me. We know what Lincoln Riley can do offensively. And like I mentioned with their DC, Dan Lynn, like, he has made the defense look like something I don't think any of us expected. Do you think I'm way out to lunch on this, or do you share the same sentiment?
No, I would agree with you. I have a few thoughts on it as well. Like, I'll start off by saying I think D'Anton Lynn's going to be a Power 4 head coach in probably about maybe a year or two. Like, he's been incredible. I mean, he's really revamped that USC defense, and it begs the question, like, if they would have had him before they had Alex Grinch and they fired Alex Grinch at USC, like, how much better this defense could have been. And, to answer your question about USC, like, I think this team has a lot to prove. I know I wouldn't say they're better than last year's team because Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams and he's a Heisman Trophy winner. But I still think this USC team has a better chance of making the college football playoff because, one, their defense is better. And two, Miller Moss has been really good. Like, he's been one of the, I guess, the surprise stories of the last, year or two. I mean, I think USC was fully expecting to go to the transfer portal, find a starting quarterback for this season. And, they kind of, got, I wouldn't say lucky. I don't know if that's the right word, but like, Miller Moss developed for 3 years as the backup. And now you have him as your full go starter. And he's been really good. He made a lot of NFL type throws in week 1 against LSU. And I think I wrote about this week at CBSSports.com. I mean, he has a chance to kind of put his name in the Heisman conversation even further, kind of like Quinn Ewers did at Michigan a few weeks ago. So I will say USC wins handedly, but Michigan is still Michigan. They're the defending champs. I don't think this is going to be a blowout, but I wouldn't be surprised if USC won by like 10 or 14 points.
Cameron, one last one from me. When does Billy Napier get fired, and who replaces him?
That's a great question.
And is it by the end of today?
It's not. I think Florida plays Mississippi State this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. The only reason I knew that is because I saw on Twitter there's like $6 tickets to go to that game. Like, you can get it in for less than $10. I mean, I think he's going to get fired this season. I don't know when. I think maybe you set the over under like Halloween around the time, because I feel like that's when, like, around when a big coach gets fired, who replaces him? I mean, I think the name that's come up a lot is Lane Kiffin, but like at the same time, like, does Lane Kiffin really look at Florida's job and be like, this is so much better than what I have at Ole Miss? I know another name that got thrown around, which I thought was really interesting. I think like could maybe work or maybe be replaced with Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, just because of how well he recruits. And I know Notre Dame's kind of like maybe in flux just because they have recruited well and they've played, relative to expectations under Marcus Freeman, but losing NIU was unacceptable. And you just never know kind of the direction the season's going to turn. I mean, if you'd asked me a few years ago, is Brian Kelly ever going to leave Notre Dame for LSU? I would say no way. Or even Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma to USC. So I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of good candidates. Like anytime an SEC job opens up, there's obviously going to be names attached to it. But at the same time, a guy like Lane Kiffin and Marcus Freeman, they probably have pretty good situations. It'd be hard for them to leave. So that's how I would answer that question.
Well, Cameron, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the games tonight and rolling on through the weekend.
Thank you guys for having me on.
There you go. Cameron Salerno of CBS Sports covers NCAA. Glad to talk a little college football here. It gets going tonight. We got 3 games on the schedule. Illinois, Nebraska, San Jose State, Washington State, and Syracuse, Stanford. That was our biggest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. Their home opener tonight out of the Grant Fuhr Arena, taking on Penticton. Get your tickets at the door or at sgsaints.ca. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get to the Oil Report, discuss those Edmonton Oilers with Zack Lang from Oilers Nation. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, with you here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroll.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow oranges and browns are as colorful as the wad of hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for. Call Mr. Rooter.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one, a spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey, it's Kevin Carius. We're heading into fall, but the deals are hot as ever at St. Albert Dodge. Like this, a 2024 Dodge Compass Altitude 4x4, discounted from $48,860 to $39,900. We're talking cool, black 18-inch aluminum wheels, a 10.1-inch touch screen display, Apple CarPlay, backup camera, all the bells and whistles. Good choice of colors, too. But supplies are limited. Get yours before they're gone. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today. Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in work and cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has work and cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
It's 3:21. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X Streams. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great with you here. Loaded studio here in the EWEL studios. 1-833-401-1440. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show today. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. You can do the same on Facebook and on X. Give us a comment. And I just keep being told we got to hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to Oilers Nation as well. Got to boost those numbers. Maybe we get to 25,000 because I know right now, Wanye, Oilers Nation at 24/7. It's kind of a cool number to be at.
Awesome.
25 might be even cooler.
The bigger the better.
That is what we say. If you are watching on YouTube, you might notice I do have a Sports 1440 hat, Black Edition. These might actually be up for sale soon. Just a little hint. Because we occasionally have people saying, how can I buy one of those hats? We might have some information for you coming up later on here. Just a little bit of a teaser there.
Are you selling them in the Bubba Gump Shrimp apparel store up the hallway?
No, I think we were declined for that one.
The collab that the mall is demanding.
You know, pop-up shops?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have one of those.
Like Supreme.
Yeah, but not. No.
You can do it in the old HMV.
That would be cool.
Just you sitting there with 11 Sporting Sporty hats.
There's a massive room behind me, but all I have is hats. Yeah.
A little card table.
Cash only. Or e-transfer. That might work as well. But hey, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move on here. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers set to kick off their preseason on Sunday, taking on Winnipeg. So let's dive in to the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. You can save $4,000 on new Volvos 2024 XC60 and finance from 1.49% up to 72 months for qualifying local and loyal customers. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. We bring in Zack Lang from Oilers Nation. Zack, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm doing very well. Just hit the like button on the YouTube channel today for the live stream. So got one more like for you guys over there right now.
Thank you.
Good man.
The more likes, the better. We need as many as we can get. Gives us life. And Zack, the Edmonton Oilers, they'll be back in action on Sunday. That's going to give a lot of people life because, you know, although it's been a shorter offseason, I think a lot of fans just cannot wait for things to get going. So it is preseason. We know it's not the real deal, but when it comes to the game on Sunday and the remainder of these preseason games, what are a few storylines you'll be watching out for?
Man, there's a lot of storylines right now when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. I think the line will be something to watch as training camp continues. And I think, the biggest one for me is probably the blue line, trying to see what shakes out there in terms of the pairings. It looks like Darnell Nurse and Ty Emberson have started together as a pairing in training camp. I like the sounds of that quite a bit. I'm pretty high on Ty Emberson. I understand there's a very small sample size of NHL games that, he's played in so far, but with the Sharks last year, he provided some very, very good results when he was on the ice. Among the best in terms of relative goal share to his teammates. And that was a pretty terrible Sharks team last season. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I think him and Nurse could be a pairing that work really well.
Up front, I'm just looking at some of the lines here, and it looks pretty great. Like Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, I think we can expect that to be one that you can lock in there for the majority of the season. But the second line with the free agents, Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson flanking Leon Draisaitl, that one, that gives me some high hopes. Like a pure finisher in Jeff Skinner who's done it throughout his career. Victor Arvidsson who has been a 30-goal scorer and guy who just works. Can be a bit of a pain in the butt with Leon Draisaitl, who's got a little of that in him as well. What do you make of that line?
Yeah, I like the sounds of it. Jeff Skinner, a pure goal scorer right there, a shooter for Leon Draisaitl. And we always think of Leon Draisaitl as a goal scorer, but he's very, very good at setting up his teammates too, as we've seen so often with Connor McDavid, especially on the power play. And I think what's going to be key for Draisaitl is having some guys on his wings that can actually provide some finish. I think that's kind of been a bit of an issue for that second line, especially last season and in years past as well. Arvidsson, I'm really interested to see what he can do. The swap of him and Warren Fogle, I think, was a good one for the Oilers. And I think the reason for that is because Arvidsson is a guy who's provided more scoring over the course of his career and more consistent scoring, especially over the last number of years. And for Warren Fogle, it always felt like it would kind of come in spurts for him, and it would only really come when he would be playing with a guy like Leon Draisaitl, as we saw last year, where the majority of his points came on 29's wing. So I like the sounds of this one. I think Leon's a guy who's been more defensively responsible than a lot of people have given him credit for. And Arvidsson as well, I think, is a good two-way winger who will be able to help in the defensive zone as well. And Jeff Skinner can kind of, float around and look for the big-time goals.
Zack Lang of Oilers Nation joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz sitting in. And Gregor had brought up a point that, potentially Jeff Skinner could be a guy who could get some time on the first power play unit. What do you like about that option?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting one. The thing that I'm kind of looking for with the power play unit this year is actually just splitting up the ice time a little bit. I think it's going to be hard to kind of break up the top unit that it's been for the last number of years. But I kind of wonder if the move is going to be to give the second unit a little bit more time. I mean, in years past, we've seen, the first unit consistently play 145 of every 2-minute power play. I wonder if that number comes down, 30 seconds or so, maybe even the 115 mark. And then that second unit can get out there and see what they can do. Victor Arvidsson, Henrique, Skinner, those are some guys that you could see up front there. And then on the blue line, probably Darnell Nurse is the defenseman, maybe Matthias Ekholm too. I think that might be the move to kind of go with instead of breaking up that first unit.
We're talking Edmonton Oilers as they're set to get their preseason schedule going on Sunday, taking on Winnipeg, and then a home-and-home split squad series with the Calgary Flames on Monday. One of the names I think a lot of us will be watching will be Podkolzin coming in right now. DFO's got him penciled in on that fourth line. My apologies. What are your expectations for Podkolzin this year? Like Gregor had mentioned it, kind of maybe not necessarily as a player, maybe some of the similarities, but Klim Kostin, like a guy who could become a fan favorite this season.
I think Klim Kostin is a great comparison for Vasily Podkolzin here. Both guys that were, higher draft picks. Podkolzin obviously a 10th overall pick. His development really got stunted in Vancouver. It was kind of a weird situation where, he went back to Russia for 2 years and then he kind of stalled out there. He wasn't getting a ton of ice time, wasn't getting a ton of opportunities, and came over to North America, had a great first year. And then the last, year and a half, 2 years here, he's kind of been plodding along between the American Hockey League and the NHL level. And, the concerning thing is that there's been a bit of a dip in his offensive performance, from 2 years ago to this past season. But in the same breath, I think, it's a bit of an odd situation for him there. So I think he's a guy who could step into Edmonton and hopefully provide, maybe 10 goals for the team this year, 20, 25 points. I think that would be pretty great for him. But, he was described in his draft year as a player who was kind of like a bull in a china shop. And when I think of that, I think of what Klim Kostin was for the Edmonton Oilers as well. A guy who can go out there and really provide some energy, lay the body, be physical in the offensive, defensive zone, and provide some energy for the top line when it comes back out.
We're joined by Zack Lang of Oilers Nation here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz sitting in. You can get your questions in 1-833-401-1440. One came in earlier today from McGavin saying, hey guys, since Adam Larson is now off the market, he was a potential fit for the Oilers' second pairing. In your opinion, do the Oilers go for more of an offensive defenseman or stick with a defensive shutdown pairing that Larson or a type of player like that would bring? What do you think would be better to pair with Darnell Nurse? What do you think?
Great question. Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the Oilers should be kind of looking for a Matthias Ekholm type. I mean, when you think of Ekholm, he's not necessarily a guy who is like excellent offensively or, a shutdown defenseman in his own zone or anything like that. But what he is, he's a really solid two-way player who can kind of be a bit of a jack of all trades. And it feels like that's kind of what the Oilers are going to be looking for on the second pair. It's going to be. I'm curious to see the way the season plays out. How Josh Brown, how Ty Emberson, how Troy Stecher look, because I'm pretty high on Emberson. I'm pretty high on Stecher as well. Not so high on Josh Brown. But, I think that the Oilers really should be looking for somebody who's kind of got that two-way ability, because I think that would play really well alongside Darnell Nurse.
Now, if we get to the deadline, and that is something that the Edmonton Oilers do look to consider, I mean, what do you ship out to create that package to bring them in? I mean, teams aren't just going to do the Oilers a favor. Obviously, when the trade is made, typically that team wins immediately. You're getting the best player, but down the road, it can balance out a little bit. For the Edmonton Oilers to bring in a defenseman like that, what do you think the compensation would have to be going the other way?
Well, it's probably going to be something similar to the Matthias Ekholm trade, I guess, right? You're looking at a roster player likely, although that might not be the same situation with the Edmonton Oilers right now because they're going to be able to accrue a couple $1 million in cap space. And if Kane is going to be able to play in the regular season, they could put him on the LTIR just ahead of the deadline. And I think in total it would free up something like where they would have around $9.5 million to play with. It's interesting because the Oilers don't necessarily have a ton of very valuable assets right now. They traded up into the first round to pick up Sam O'Reilly at the draft this year. And I think the thing with that too is that, that was a trade that kind of ties up the Oilers' next 2 first-round picks because it was a conditional first-round pick. When you look at their draft picks this season, they got a second-round pick from St. Louis in the Philip Broberg trade. They got a third-round pick from the Zack trade a couple of years ago. Then they have a 6th and a 7th. So they don't really have a ton that they can work with that way. So this is where, you look at some of the prospects that the Oilers have. Like, could the Oilers look at maybe trading Sam O'Reilly like they did with Reed Schaefer, a few years ago from Matthias Ekholm? Wanye, I still know that you're torn up about that one. Sorry, buddy.
Thank you.
I think about you all the time when I think of Reed Schaefer. But O'Reilly is a guy who could be an option. Do the Oilers look at flipping Matthew Savoy? If the Oilers can get, a defenseman that has, multiple years of term left, or if they can add a younger forward that could help impact the lineup a little bit sooner than Savoy did, or maybe in a more impactful way early on. I think these are the things that the Oilers are going to kind of be looking at. And of course, they still have future draft picks that they can utilize as well. They have all of the ones in 2026 and all but their 4th-round pick in 27 still. So lots of options for the Oilers, but it's definitely going to not be cheap to acquire, a really impactful player ahead of the deadline this year.
Zach, we had a question come in from Stu. He says, can you ask Zach what his bold prediction for the Oilers is? Mine is that Savoy plays more than 40 games and ends up being a big contributor in the top 6. No pressure, though. When it comes to bold predictions for this team, any that stand out?
Oh, man, I love the hot takes. Here's a spicy one. Stuart Skinner will finish the year as a top 10 goaltender in the NHL, or he'll be think of as a top 10 goaltender in the NHL. This is a guy who has kind of had some up and downs early on in his NHL career. And 2 years ago, he really got thrusted into the spotlight pretty quickly as the Edmonton Oilers' #1 goaltender. We've all seen, as people who watch and follow and are fans of the Oilers, the ups and downs that he's kind of had. And, last year in the playoffs, obviously it was a bit of a rocky start against LA. He managed to kind of rebound. And then the wheels kind of came off against Vancouver early on. He sat down for a game or two, and then he came back. And after that point, between when he returned in the Vancouver series and through the Stanley Cup Finals, he was absolutely lights out. I think Stuart Skinner is going to carry that over into this season. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be a .920 save percentage goaltender for the team this year, and a big reason why they're able to have another long, deep run at Stanley Cup.
Zach Lang, Oilers Nation, joining us. Zach, just a few more for you before we let you go here for the Edmonton Oilers. It was a very interesting offseason. They had obviously not a long one because of what they did last season, and had a little bit of a distraction there with Leon Draisaitl, couple offer sheets, and a bit of a surprise there. But I just want to ask you, when it comes to the star players, Connor McDavid, 132 points last year. We know he had some injuries. The year before that, he was racking up goals like it was going out of style. For him, what do you expect? 132 points last season, 100 helpers. Is this a season where he goes back to maybe closer to what we saw the previous year, the 60-goal season, or do you think he's going to hover around that 30 mark?
Man, that's an interesting one. I think the injury for McDavid last year was more detrimental than people kind of really thought. And his ability to put up assists the way that he did last season, I think really masked it because he was able to keep up his incredible production. The thing that's really interesting about McDavid, and I wrote about this at OilersNation.com a couple weeks ago, McDavid had spoke to Sportsnet's Mark Spector, saying that ahead of a last season, he overtrained in the summertime. And he felt that really put him behind the 8 ball and didn't allow himself to pace himself throughout the course of an entire regular season, let alone getting into the playoffs for a 25-game run as the Oilers went on. So I think this is a McDavid who's going to come in highly motivated. He's going to want to be the McDavid that he has been in the years past early on in the season, where through the first 10 to 15 games, he's scoring like 2 points a game and really helping the Oilers get off to a hot start. I'm going to be really curious to see how this kind of works for him throughout the season in terms of trying to better pace himself, at least with his energy levels and training and all that kind of stuff. I mean, McDavid's a guy the sky's the absolute limit for him, right? I don't have a doubt in my mind that if he wanted to go out there and score 50 goals and 100 assists this season and for 150 points, he could do so. I think he's going to get back to his old self here really quickly. And it's not even like he had a down year last year, because he still became the 4th player in NHL history to put up 100 assists in a singular regular season. And then he went ahead and broke Wayne Gretzky's assist record in the playoffs. So this is a guy who is absolutely at the height of his career right now, in the prime of his career at 27 years old. So I think it's only going to continue to get better in terms of what he's able to do on the ice for the Oilers.
Yeah, and for sure. I mean, it almost seems like if he wants to score 50, he will. If he wants to get 100 assists, he will. And he's going to have a lot of support around him, which is going to be great to see. My last question for you, the expectation's extremely high, coming as close to you can as winning a Stanley Cup and not doing so. I think a lot of fans or expectations got to get back there and do it all over again. But the Canucks will be better. The Kings will be better. You've got the Dallas Stars, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Nashville Predators having a nice offseason themselves. So when it comes to getting into the playoffs, who do you think are going to be the toughest hurdles for the Edmonton Oilers to redo what they did last season and get to the finals?
If I'm being totally honest with you, I don't think the Oilers are going to have a difficult time getting into the playoffs whatsoever this year. I think the Pacific Division is as open as it's ever been. I'm expecting regression from the Vancouver Canucks to start the season. They had a really, really great year last year, but I do think that they kind of overperformed, at least in the regular season. Something that I don't think enough people are talking about is Thatcher Demko and what's going on with him. Whatever this injury is that he's suffering, it sounds like it's really serious. I think there was a quote the other day where he was, saying he gave a lot of credit to his wife or his partner for helping with the kids throughout the summer, because there was things that he couldn't be doing with them. That doesn't sound like a player who is, in any sense of the term, close to returning to action. And there hasn't even been a timetable set on his return. So I think Vancouver's going to be due for some real regression this year. I could very much see the Oilers winning the Pacific Division with a relative ease this season and putting themselves in a really nice place to start the playoffs.
Well, Zach, thanks so much for doing this today. We really appreciate you hopping on, and I'm sure we'll do it again throughout the entirety of the season.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me today, guys.
There you go. Zach Lang, Oilers Nation. The Oil Report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Check them out online, volvocarsedmonton.com. Wanye, quickly for you. Do you think there's a great challenge for the Oilers once they get into the postseason awaiting?
Once we get in the postseason, I say
Yeah.
we, because I consider myself the 24th roster player. No, I think it's going to be work to get into the playoffs. I think the challenge of this season is just managing a 100-game season, right? Like, if you're Connor McDavid, you're talking about going into last season overtrained, and then you had some nagging injuries all season. How much do you really heal in 90 days?
Great question.
Right?
I mean, he's a freak, so probably.
And he's probably
really
in
well.
a cryo chamber and sleeping
Yeah.
upside down in a hyperbaric chamber, stuff like that. But still, it's a long season ahead. And the only thing I worry about for the Oil is managing injury, managing that load management.
I think just so many things need to go right. Like, you got to stay healthy. Bounces can go a certain way, things of that nature. But the Edmonton Oilers are in as good a position as anyone to handle that. They've got depth, back end might be tested. We'll see what happens throughout the season, who steps up and the way things go at the trade deadline. But, the Oilers are in a good spot this year. And McDavid, Draisaitl, this group, they know what it takes. They now have been through it.
But I sat in this studio this time last year and watched people make ridiculous proposals and predictions about the Oilers. And I remember saying, I don't think you should predict Connor's going to get 160 points to people at Oilers Nation.
Yeah.
They're like, too bad. We've already got our spots picked out for the parade. It's a long season, man. And then I sat in these seats when they were at the bottom of the league. They were one point off of San Jose. And remember how panicked everybody was, Connor? Remember guys like Tyler Yaremchuk of Oilers Nation declaring the McDavid era over, ? And then they come roaring back.
They went on a 2 runs, 3 runs where they won crazy games. I was on a podcast last summer, and the question was 64 goals, 89 points. Can Connor McDavid do more? And I said no. And I was the only one to say no on this roundtable. And I said, so many things have to go right for that to happen. Can he do it? Absolutely. But it's tough. I mean, it's the toughest league in the world. A lot of things have to go right for things to happen. And he did up his assist total still in less games played.
I would argue that the toll of the season by the time the Oilers got to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, especially for Connor and Leon, I think the number one factor in the series was injury.
I think so.
And that's one of the reasons why my mind was so blown that Janmark and Brown were able to sop up as much time as they were. But when you're making these like 160-point predictions and stuff like that at the beginning of the season, and I get it, right? The fact that there's an Oiler that can even be in the conversation with 160 points in a season is very exciting. But you got to remember, it's a long year, man.
The war of attrition, right?
Ooh.
Got to stay healthy. Got to be ready to go. We'll take a break. Stu had asked us, what are your guys' hot takes? We'll get to that when we get back. We'll take yours, 1-833-401-1440, and it will be another edition of the 2-Minute Warning with Cam. Tate, you're listening to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 or watching on Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great, keeping you on track online. We'll be back right after this. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
When you want to recognize the top performer on your team, come create memorable and customized trophies and awards with Elite Promotional Marketing. Elite's in-house design team will help you achieve your corporate award goals. Head to ElitePromoMarketing.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
You'll hear it around town. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. But at Wolf GMC Buick, we're putting our own spin on it. Not only do we have over 200 GMCs available, we also want you to upgrade your ride with 0% financing up to 72 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra Elevation. Oh, and how about at least $10,000 cash back in your pocket on in-stock heavy-duty trucks? Yep, it's Canada-wide clearance, and you'll only get these deals at Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road, just seconds from the Anthony Henday.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people, leadingedgephysio.com.
The Rick's semi-annual sale is back. For 4 days only, take advantage of incredible deals in every department, like up to 40% off mattresses, up to 30% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair at ticket price. Plus, find up to $1,400 off sectionals and up to $400 off big screen TVs. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Hurry in, for the sale it only happens twice a year at the Brick, saving you more.
Hey there. It's your friends from Toyota. We see you eyeing that Tundra, already picturing yourself hauling so much firewood that your chainsaw's hiding behind the shed. It's time to stop dreaming about that new Toyota and start driving one. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $154 weekly for 60 months at 4.99% with $6,299 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Kate the Great with you here. Coming to you live from the eWell Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use code word SUMMER and make a $5 deposit Get $50 free play in the casino. Use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca. Stuart asked us for our hot takes when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. So we'll get to those in a second. But first, we are going to get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. Of course, Cam Tate has cerebral palsy and wanted to do radio for a long time. With the technology we have, we now have the opportunity to do so. The 2-minute warning is brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. If you need service late at night or on the weekend, you don't need overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Here is Cam Tate.
Positive Friday. Third week in September. And we have more sports on TV than to use CN Hurl a remote at. Check those batteries there, Grandpa. You don't want to miss anything. Make sure you get your pregame nap now. Without Grandma. Okay. Sorry, this is a historic day for your 2-minute warning. Sure is. In our big Twitter poll, we had a tiebreaker to decide today's topic. And the winner is Elks Bombers, Saturday at Commonwealth Stadium. There you go. Thank you to everyone for voting. Huge game. You kidding me? Huge. Elks are coming off a bye week. And it would have been interesting to know what the betting odds were a few months ago for the Elks having a shot. A legitimate shot at first place. 0-7 season start when T suggests the Elks would be sniffing, because Elks, they sniff, right? Around for a playoff spot. Never mind first place. Have to love the Canadian Football League. Not too many other professional sports leagues can have a cellar dweller in reach of the chimney top. Amazing stuff. It's a 4-point game, really, for the Elks, right? Bombers, they have 14 points atop the CFL West. The Elks, well, they have 10 win Saturday, and they are right back in the mix. We need to chat about the white elephant at Commonwealth Stadium. And we need to tie it into the issue of limiting potential. Say that with me one time with me. Limiting potential. The white elephant, you ask? The upper deck. Commonwealth Stadium. Tarped off. Nobody sits up there. It's closed. Right. So let's play devil's advocate. Could the closure of the upper deck hurt attendance figures? The popularity of the Elks creates more fans, more customers. And could the tarp sections actually stop that? Limiting potential? You tell me. To reword that famous Ronald Reagan quote, Mr. Thompson, tear down those tarps. 29 million Canadians haven't signed their organ donor card. Enough said. 2-minute warning, Monday, Friday, Gregor Show. Sports 14.
There you go. Cam Tate's 2-minute warning really threw me off there with a 14:40. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Check them out online, legacyheating.ca. It's an interesting point. I personally was in favor of them tarping off the upper deck because it did not look good. The last couple of years, attendance was kind of dwindling. And I say this as someone who sat upper section Y for 10 plus years. I absolutely loved my season seats, but I think you had to get people down there and create more of an atmosphere. The BC Lions did it at BC Place. Get everyone down there, get the buzz going. A little more noise, hopefully on field level, although they are like 20 feet away from the field with that track being down there. But Wanye, I thought that was an okay move to start to, generate some buzz. And when the occasion comes and, you can start to get more season or tickets being requested, maybe you open up one side, maybe just in the middle and then expand it out after. I've known some people who've loved the upper deck. I heard stories of back in the day, Eskimos fans taking barbecues, like grills, into the upper section, like cooking up dogs and stuff during games. But right now, you got to build it up and get back to that. So I hope we get there. Talking with Carter from the Elks, does ticket sales, 22,000 sold. That was this morning. Hoping to get up to 25,000. And then, you get a good walkout or walk up crowd. Weather should be good. People looking for something to do before they head out on the town. It could be a pretty good attendance, but I think I agree with the team's decision to keep the tarp on for the top level.
It's amazing when you see the Pink concert come through.
Or Metallica.
And the stadium's full, right? Like, it's hard to manage the game day experience for fans when you have that many empty seats. So I think it's a bit of a tough nut to crack. You have to let the season ticket holders know you have to move. That's probably not a popular thing.
Yeah.
What's the capacity of the lower bowl?
I think they have it around 30,000.
Okay. It's still enormous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about that in Rogers Place terms. It's 1.5 Rogers Places in the lower bowl. So even if you just have the lower bowl full, you still have an enormous crowd.
Yeah, the problem is, I guess, when you have 30,000 people in a 58, 60,000 seat stadium and it's say wherever you want, it looks scattered. Like it
100%.
doesn't look full. You do it this way. And I don't know, part of the thing that made me fall in love with the league was like, yeah, the football was great, but the atmosphere was awesome. You know, those horn things going off every 5 seconds, you know, you're around people, there's trash talk, there's those blow up balls being knocked around like beach balls and stuff like that. That's kind of what made it cool for me. So I don't know. I kind of like the squeezing everyone in. And then when we get to a point, maybe next year, maybe the Riders are in town or whatever it might be, where more tickets are wanted, start opening up upper sections and hopefully fill it out from there. But I don't know. I'm okay with it for now. We shall see if it changes, but I think that you got to get the people in there. Mike says they are horrendous when the place is full. The team? Commonwealth let me do both texts. I just read the latest one. Commonwealth staff need to relearn how to handle a big crowd before the Elks open the top level. They're horrendous when the place is full. Like for a concert, Mike, you're saying? Cat Dad said, like I said, they should tarp off the upper bowl, but put advertisements on the tarps. You're thinking business-wise.
The capitalist text
generate some revenue,
I
right?
like it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm okay with that one. I never had too many issues when we were upper deck. I mean, I will say, Friday night game, Saturday night game, there were some fights.
Oh, sure.
You occasionally saw people take a tumble, but overall, it wasn't too bad. I would imagine when you get to 60,000 people for a concert, rowdy concert goers like they would be at for Pink, it'd be a little hectic.
I don't know, man. I was near the stadium when the Metallica shows were going on. Metallica fans don't look that threatening to me anymore.
No?
They look old. They look old, Connor.
They don't, and you know, they're pretty respectful, good people.
Everybody seemed very sedate and like, pardon me, excuse me, not punching the heck out of each other to enter Sandman.
I will tell you, I have told this story before, but I was working back in my street team days for a soft listening station, and the wind almost blew our tent right over the bridge by the old Coliseum. It was a Celine Dion concert.
Oh, dear.
And their people just walked past me, didn't help. And I thought if this was a rock show, there would have been 15 people, dudes, just running over to help us hold that tent down. But it wasn't the case.
So no one came to help you at
No.
the Celine Dion concert.
It was me and Nikki, who actually went on to work for the Oilers for a little while, holding on to this tent like for our lives so it wouldn't fly over the bridge on 118th, is it?
By the LRT exit?
Yeah. Dangerous. Tickets were cheaper at the Upper Bowl, made it more affordable to go from Darren. Yeah, you're right. And hopefully they get back to that. That's the thing. Winning's great, but it's got to be affordable. You got to be able to take your family of 4 or 5 to the game, whatever it might be. Can maybe feed them, buy them a souvenir. I will say, tailgate is great. I'm pretty sure you can get like a hot dog and a beer for $5.
Is that so?
Yeah, at certain areas. Go see the fine folks. K-Rock's always there. K97, our sister station, brother station.
How come we're not there?
Well, we will be.
Oh.
Yeah, in the future. We will be in the next couple games here.
You've gone full circle and you've got that tent blowing away again.
And Elks fans would help me hold it down.
They would.
I would think. JP says the outdoor game this past year at Commonwealth was brutal. You couldn't even move yet get into the washroom or get a drink from JP.
But JP, like I went to the outdoor game in Winnipeg with the Oil. It was the same thing there.
Yeah. It was the same way with Elks games.
Yeah.
When they were or Eskimos games back in the day.
Sure.
When it was packed, like it was tough to leave. You had to like lock arms with your buddies to get out of there. It was so packed. That's kind of it. Like that's what I like about sporting events. And obviously not the long drink lines or long lines for the bathroom, but just having a ton of people packed in, it's always a good time.
And BYOB, bring your own barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. Upper level. You could bring anything into the Commonwealth back in the day.
Anything?
Not booze.
Oh.
But like we would go to 7-Eleven on the way to our games. Get a Slurpee, get some licorice, bag of chips.
You could bring it in?
You could walk it right in, yeah. They would occasionally smell our Slurpees to make sure we didn't put a little rum in there.
And did you ever?
No, we were like 16. We weren't thinking that way yet.
I see.
In the future, perhaps we would have, but yeah, we didn't do it that way, but it was cool. I don't know if you still can. Usually I go to the press box now. Worked my way up. But for those who, through Scope Corey says, oh, you could bring booze in. Of course you could. You had to get clever with it.
Like what? Saw your leg off from the knee down and then have a fake shin?
Yeah. You sneak it in. Lots of ways to do it.
Enormous cowboy hat?
Yeah, maybe.
And then you just go, howdy, as you walk past security. They go, there's the cowboy.
Phil says, I sat beside a guy whose favorite chirps were crush his cranium. and lacerate his liver.
Yes.
We sat in front of a group of men who would always like, whenever a guy got hurt, get the meat wagon. And then they would insult our cheer team.
Yes.
I was like, what are you guys doing? But they paid and came to every game. So Dylan says ticket prices for the Elks aren't horrible. It's the concession and merchandise prices when you get in there. Taking forever to get anything, and the prices are kind of ridiculous for what you get. I don't know. I used to be kind of a little sneakier, I suppose. Just go to a quicker concession inside. Rod says, 16, we were drinking in bars. Slurpees, grow up. Rod, you and I are not the same. We are not the same people.
Rod's built different than you.
When I was 16, they had licensed scanning technology, so I could not fake it. Unless I got a fake ID. But I was a dweeb when I was 16, Rod. You were cooler than I was. I was playing video games. Gotta own it. I was a dweeb. Still am.
Dweeb?
Yeah. I used to go play sports. Like me and my buddies would go play football on a Saturday night when we were 16, then go play video games.
I don't think that makes you a dweeb.
Well, maybe a little bit. We weren't trying to get drunk or anything at that point of our lives.
There's a window in your life where you're like, I'm going to sneak a 70-ounce bottle of rye into this football game in my pants and giggle with all your friends. And that window, like 5 years later, you're like, would you do that? You're like, no, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
But it's good living during that window, Connor.
Fun time.
K-Days was big for that.
We're getting away with Moida.
K-Days, Declan, you were sneaking booze in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mickey's or like beers?
Like Mickey's.
Yeah.
I was like a teenager.
I remember going out for the first time in Vancouver, and they had a 3 a.m. last call. And me and my buddy being like, these idiots haven't shut the bar down. It's 2:01. And we're just hitting the bartender up for Shooter City. And then someone said, calm down, boys. Last call's at 3.
We went there to Kelowna after the law changed for minimum drink prices. Got there, they were like, all right, guys, it's $1 drink time. We went bananas.
They changed the law to make it cheaper?
Well, because in Canada or Alberta, there was a point where they like outlawed 25-cent draft, didn't they?
That's the worst day of my life.
The 10-cent, 25-cent highballs. But then we went to BC. They didn't have that law. So the establishments there were doing all those cheap drinks. Great time. No one drank less. They just spent more money.
I remember back in the day in this very mall, $1 drink night.
Cowboys?
Juice.
Down the hall? Yeah, we're down 178th.
Sure.
I didn't go to Juice. I think I missed out on that one.
You ever went to Juice?
Never heard of Juice.
Juice was on Bourbon Street. It was the best.
Sounds great.
It was the best. $1 drink night, Connor.
Never got into we had 25-cent draft at Cowboys. What's the place on Argyle?
Purple Onion?
Union Hall.
Union Hall.
Had like 25-cent highballs.
Sure.
That was great.
I feel like the 25-cent draft at Cowboys, one day, everybody who drank that had a day like I had where you're drinking it and you're like, you know what? I'm going to spend $2 on a bottle.
Yeah.
They'll sell it to me for $0.25. I'm going to get it for $2 now.
Exactly.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah. Everyone had been there.
You need to have 25-cent completely disgusting beer offered to you so that as an adult you can learn lessons and say, I don't want it anymore.
I would be like, drink that, then go get a Molson Canadian. Wow, this is better.
So much better.
This is the way. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we will be joined by the host of this show, Jason Gregor. We'll let you know what he's getting up to. And we'll also hear from Mark Spector, Alan Mitchell. We'll ask 5 questions and a whole lot more. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line if you want to get some questions in to us or comments. We're talking cheap drinks, and of course, the text line lights up. That is the way it goes. But first, let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Fountain Tire is teaming up with Sports Central to collect 1,000 bikes for kids in need every Saturday in September. You can drop bikes off at Sports Central between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. You can also check out sports1440.ca for 6 other locations. We're up to 614, so it's a great start, but we got to keep it going. Again, check out the locations at sports1440.ca. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, the Utah Hockey Club have locked up Edmonton native Dylan Guenther for the long term. The team announced an 8-year extension for the winger today. The deal will begin in the 25-26 season. Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed to a 3-year, $192.9 million maximum contract extension that will guarantee him a total of $299 million for the 28-29 season. New England Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo did say today that Jacoby Brissett will remain the team's starting quarterback. And in MLB action, the Toronto Blue Jays get going in about 50 minutes here as they are in Tampa taking on the Rays. Jose Barrios on the mound in that one. One final from earlier was the Cubs over the Nats 3-1, and the WHL gets going tonight. Oil Kings in Lethbridge taking on the Hurricanes, a 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Rule number 62, never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Get ready, Edmonton. The country sensation, the Rec Laws, are coming to the Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd. It's your chance to see the award-winning duo that's taken the country scene by storm. From Long Live the Night to Feels Like That, the Rec Laws are bringing the party to you during Yeggs Rodeo Week. Don't miss out. Pre-sale tickets available from now until September 16th at EdmontonExpoCenter.com. Public on sale begins September 19th at 10 a.m. The Rec Laws at Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
Hey there. It's your friends from Toyota. We see you pining over that RAV4 at the light. And guess what? The light's been green for a while now. It's time to stop dreaming about that new Toyota and start driving one. Lease a 2024 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive from $96 weekly for 60 months at 6.29% with $3,999 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Also, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger with you here, as is Kate the Great, keeping us online streaming clean and clear. The show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight is Lotto Max worth $22 million. You can get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. And remember to use your GameSense. Go to GameSense.ca and stay within your limits. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line for the eWell inbox. Lots to get to still here on the show. Of course, we'll be joined by Mark Spector just after 5 o'clock, as well as Alan Mitchell at 5:20. We've got 5 questions with Declan Kruger coming up in about 35 minutes. But right now we bring in the regular host of the Jason Gregor Show, Jason Gregor himself. Gregor, how you doing today?
Buddy, I'm just trying to survive right now.
Now, for those of the listeners who may not know, what are you doing today?
So the Beaumont Chiefs, it's their 40th year. And so they're having a big alumni tournament and round robin. It's their home opener tonight. They started the season on Wednesday. And so been playing games since like 11 this morning. 3 games already. Kind of when you have guys half your age, it's all of a sudden a different game. But you know what? Now you got to play smart. Definitely don't have the speed to keep up. But it's lots of fun. Getting to meet lots of guys from different generations who played over the years. And, a big shout out to Jake Quast and Vern Gerhardt who organized all this. It's a ton of work to, herd 88 guys around, cats. But it's been loads of fun. It's been great seeing some guys that I played with who I haven't seen in a long time. So it's loads of fun.
Gregor, how does this compare to the world's longest hockey game in terms of long hockey games?
Well, it's way faster pace. Like the first game, I was like, what are we doing? So, I played in the world's longest game. You can't obviously keep that pace up for that long, but, there's lots of guys there who never played junior and everybody here did at some point. So, you know what? It's fun, but yeah, the groins will be a little sore tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. And probably, I feel for the goaltenders, man. I don't know how they do it because, you know what, there's a few guys who, they're playing here or there and you're playing 4 games as a goalie in about 8 hours. That'll be tough.
Gregor, for the Edmonton Oilers, they're going to kick things off this preseason on Sunday. Then you've got the home split squad series against the Flames Monday. But when it comes to the Sunday game, what kind of things are you looking for in this camp and the remainder of the preseason for the Oilers?
Well, I don't really take much from the first preseason games, to be honest, having covered it for so long. Winnipeg's roster here, I'm sure when we find out tomorrow or Sunday, there'll be like 5 of their regular guys there. And mainly probably their bottom 6 forwards. That's usually how it works on the road early in the preseason. So, you know what? It's more so I would look for individuals. A guy like Raphael Levon needs to get noticed. It's just that simple, right? And I think, Hamlin, Peterson, Noah Philp, if they want to knock out Derek Ryan, they too need to get noticed. We won't see, anybody playing with Darnell Nurse because he's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play in any of the games this week, right? They got 5 games this week. I don't expect him to play in any, but, later on. So, but even then, like Emberson, right? First time, I think, for a lot of Oilers fans to see him, Stetcher, Brown. So, that's the unique kind of battle on the back end you watch for. But, it's not like, I get too worried about the power play or anything like that. Because, it's home games. So usually you dress some of your better guys, but they got back-to-back home games. So I would guess like David's line's playing one game and Draisaitl's line's playing the other game, which means your power play is not going to be together, right? Eventually you would put those 2 lines in the same game just so you can have your number 1 power play unit, right? That's what they've done in the past. So, the first 2 games they are what they are. It's the preseason. The greatest idea I've ever heard is that they're going to reduce the preseason in the future. So sign me up for that.
Wanye was asking earlier, if you're someone who wanted to go to a game and get maybe the best action, best bang for your buck in terms of starters, do you think it would be their last home game next Monday?
Yeah, probably. But even then, because the Oilers, they finished, it's kind of rare. I'm trying to think the last time they finished with 2 preseason games in a row on the road. So they'll be in Seattle and Vancouver. And that, and usually that's when you'll play your lineup. So it depends. Like McDavid's going to have to play one of these first 2 games. I assume. I could be wrong. Maybe he won't play either, but I'm guessing their line will play 1 or 2. So, then they play at home on Wednesday and Friday again. So, yeah, it's a good question. I bet you that last home game will probably be maybe like 70% of the roster, I would think, maybe.
Jason Gregor joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz sitting in, coming to you live from the EWEL studios here in West Edmonton Mall. Gregor, when we get into the playoffs, there's been some teams that have some good off seasons. Nashville Predators come to mind. If Vancouver can continue what they're doing, there'll be a challenge. The Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, if they can stay healthy. When it gets to the postseason, who do you think is going to be the toughest task for the Oilers? Because a lot of fans have that expectation. They did it this past year, made it to the Stanley Cup final. Got to try to do it again.
Well, of course they want to do it again, but it's so far away. I think fans won't enjoy the season if all they talk about is the playoffs, right? Because the regular season matters. It matters a lot because if you don't have home ice advantage, it just makes your road a lot harder. So, who knows? There's so many unknowns, injuries, trade deadline. It'd be impossible to give any sort of answer. Like, I think we know Dallas is going to be good. Colorado's a wild card. Like, if Landeskog and Achooch can come back and are good, well, then they should be a pretty good team. But if they're not, how good's Colorado? How serious can they compete? Will they just make a huge splash and try to go and get some guys because they got a boatload of cap space available all of a sudden? So, Vancouver, how serious is the Demko injury? What's Vegas going to look like? I think Edmonton's good. I think with all the other questions around that, they should be fine to win the Pacific Division. But even now, there's a little concern, on the right side. And then what if all of a sudden, 2 or 3 guys get banged up in October? That changes everything. So I think it's way too early to be talking about the playoffs. You got to get to the playoffs, and you want to finish as high as you can if you're the Edmonton Oilers.
Jason Gregor joining us here on the Gregor. So one topic that we kind of got into yesterday, Gregor, was Shohei Otani and what he was able to do. Maybe one of the best individual performances we've ever seen. 10 RBIs, 6 for 6 at the plate, 2 stolen bases. When you think of the greatest performances in sport in one single game, do you have anything that even comes close to that one?
Nothing I can think of, honestly. You compare and you say, okay, Darryl Sittler had a 10-point game. Okay. Yes, he did, and that was awesome. But he had 10 RBIs. He went 6 for 6. He had 3 home runs and some moonshot home runs, 2 doubles. That is the greatest baseball game you've ever seen. No player ever in MLB history has had 3 home runs, 2 doubles, and 2 stolen bases in the same game. Right? Never mind the 10 RBIs. I don't even know how many times you had 10 RBIs in a game. Probably lots way back in the early 1900s. But I think Mark Whitten had 10 or 12 when he had his 4 home run game, if I'm not mistaken, recently. But I don't know how many times guys are getting 10 RBIs. I'm guessing it's not very often. But to me, that's the greatest single game performance I've ever seen in baseball. And it's hard to find a comparison in any other sport. To be honest, when Matt Dunnigan had 714 yards passing again, I think it was 14 against the then Eskimos, that was a hell of a game, right? But he wasn't perfect. It's not like he completed every pass. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So yeah, it would be hard, honestly. I think it'd be very hard to match it. It's funny. We're in a hockey dressing room today, and all the guys are talking about that. They're just like this guy, and in the positive way, is like an absolute freakish athlete that you've really never seen. And the crazy thing is he can still pitch, right? And so, because a lot of people are like, well, maybe just intentional walk him. Well, then he'll just steal second, right? Barry Bonds, you could intentional walk because he wasn't going to, at that time when his head was swelling up, he wasn't stealing bases anymore. Shohei Otani's hitting 50 dingers and stealing 50 bases. You can't just intentionally walk him and giving up a double almost.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous what he's done this season. Just sign, seal, deliver. He's got the MVP locked up in the NL, and let's just see what he does in the postseason because there's an opportunity for it to be absolute magic. Gregor, this weekend, the Edmonton Elks in action after their bye week coming back, looking pretty healthy. AC Leonard, he's going to draw into the lineup as a defensive end. We'll see if they get him in certain situations. Hergy Mayala and Javon Leake will not play. Mayala with injury, Leake for personal reasons. So you got the backfield with Kevin Brown and Justin Rankin. But what are you looking forward to seeing in this Elks Bombers game Saturday night, 5 o'clock?
Well, this will be a real good test for Edmonton, no question. Bombers come in winners of 5 in a row. They've been one of the best teams in the league for the last 3-4 seasons. They have a slow start, but can they get pressure on Collaros? Collaros is banged up right now. So, can they get pressure on him? Their defense, with all the accolades of what their offense is doing, their defense has played pretty well here for the last 6 weeks. And, I think it's going to be a really good test. I'm looking forward to going to the game on Saturday. And then, Trey Ford comes back in as the starter. So, what can he do? Obviously, when he came in originally, he jump-started this team. They hadn't won a game. They won a few in a row, 3 in a row when he started. Obviously got nicked up in the 3rd game. And so, A, can he stay healthy? B, can they continue on here? Because, there's not, obviously there's Winnipeg and there's Montreal and BC, and they did beat them. But, the other teams that they've beaten lately, they haven't played Ottawa, Hamilton, Calgary, they're a little bit different. So now let's see if they can handle it with the big boys. And Winnipeg conversely the same deal. Now they have beat BC, right? Both these teams beat BC, but the other games, Winnipeg didn't beat up on the Elks either. So I think this is going to be a really good home between both teams. And I'm really looking forward to see, we'll find out how close are the Elks. If you lose a close game and you're really in it, okay, great. But what if they come down to it, guys, and then there's a real big error, which is what cost them games early in the season? Then you look and say, well, they really haven't learned from their mistakes earlier in the year.
Jason Gregor joining us. Just a couple more questions. We'll let you get back to the tournament. Big weekend in the NFL, as it always is. I don't know if you have the schedule right in front of you, but some games that should be a lot of fun. You got Malik Willis and the Packers going back to Tennessee to take on the Titans, Bears, Colts, Texans, Vikings, the Saints, the Eagles, 2 undefeated teams in the Steelers and the Chargers, Ravens, Cowboys, which should be a lot of fun, Cards, Lions, and then how about the Niners and Rams? I think the whole team is on the injured list. That's going to be an interesting game. But which games are you looking forward to this weekend in the NFL?
I think there's going to be a few blowout games, right? Like, can the Rams even field a team? Like, honestly, they should get blown out. Like, I think the Cowboys Ravens is probably the game of the weekend, at least from my vantage point. I would think so. So, like you look, I think Cincinnati's going to walk all over Washington, and I think this is, at least on paper, it looks like there should be a few blowouts. But what we see in the NFL is it hasn't happened. Now, I'm more curious to see is the offense going to start catching up, right? The defense won the first 2 weeks. There's no question. You look at how few touchdown passes there were. The Jets, the Patriots defense had been pretty good through 2 weeks, but, the Jets handled them pretty handily last night. And so now I'm kind of are we going to see the offense start to catch up? Because most of these teams, they don't play their offensive guys in the preseason. So it's almost like the first 2 regular season games are just a feeling out process to see how they do. So I'm more curious to watch overall if we start to see the offense come back.
Should be a fun one. Gregor, thanks for doing this today. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Well, we'll see, Cons. We'll see if I'm still upright by then. 2 more games, potentially. So, yikes.
You need another day off, let me know. We'll be ready to go on Monday.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Gregor. There you go. Jason Gregor, the host of the show. Could get his writing at Oilers Nation and listen to him 2 to 6, Monday through Friday here on Sports 1440, just not today.
I didn't want to antagonize him.
Why not?
He's going through enough. I was going to make fun of him, be like, oh, ha, you're tired and old, but like, that's not nice.
No.
That's a lot of hockey.
He doesn't need that right now.
Well, especially with former junior players. I like his comment, what are we doing playing so fast out here? He has his hands full. He doesn't need me to mock him.
That's not the spirit of this event.
No.
From what I understand.
He's a good sport to go and do that.
Yeah.
That's the thing about our Gregor. He's got a heart of gold. You'd think he would turn that down, but there he is.
Out there representing Jason Gregor. Big appreciation to him for coming on the show today. We got on the topic of cheap drinks at bars, and that always fires people up. Clay just says Ezzy's. Excellent. I went to Ezzy's once, not a Northsider, went there, had a few drinks, almost walked into the wrong washroom, and I think at that point I was like, time to wrap it up.
I remember thinking, I was trying to decide where to go to school, and I was like, I should go to Nate. I really like Ezzy's. And my dad, to his credit, was like, you could just go to that bar and go to a different school. Not that there's anything wrong with Nate, but don't decide where to get a post-secondary education based on campus bar. Ezzy's was dope.
Yeah. I West End kid, didn't make my way north too often, but anyone that I would talk to that went to Shep would be like, oh, got to come to Ezzy's.
You got to.
Got to do it. Delta Valley Jeff says, Juice was the place the short dudes wearing non-prescription white frame glasses went with their allowance money. Wanye.
Wow. Their money spends. What's that guy's name? Who said that?
Delta Valley Jeff.
Delta Valley Jeff? What, you excluding these people? These are the people spending money.
You're not short.
Me?
And your glasses are prescription.
You're thick, too.
And they're not white.
Nope.
But maybe they were back then.
I wasn't wearing glasses on the weekend. It was Wanye Jr.'s 4th birthday party. We went swimming. I was like, oh, there he is coming down the water slide. I'd know my own son anywhere.
Oh, no.
But an 8-year-old girl. Wanye Jr. turned 4. I was like, there he is. There's my big man on the water slide.
You didn't go to catch him.
No, I was waiting. But like, these glasses, they're not for fashion.
They are quite necessary. Rod says draft was 15 cents a glass. $2.75 case of beer. Mickey's $2.65. A 2.6 was $5.75.
$2.75 for a case of beer.
This is 1970 when he was 18.
Good heavens. It's hard though because like you earn such different wages. It's not like you're spending with your 2024 wallet.
I'm trying to think. Like I remember being 18. I want to say like a Mickey of rum was $10, maybe 12. That was a couple hours of work to get that. Or you just had to go to the bar where you knew people.
I can remember going to Juice. We'd be throwing parties and we would get free drink tickets. And I remember being like, don't spend that $1. Here's a free drink ticket. And my friends would come up to me like, where are the free drink tickets at? And I was like, here they are. Because $1 in those days meant something, Connor.
It really did.
It did. And that wasn't that long ago.
Clay says, I actually met my wife there in 2003. Still together.
At Juice?
Ezzy's.
Oh.
Not juice. That's not a juice.
Clay,
thing.
if you're the game to pick up ladies inside Ezzy's, I respect you because that was a high tension marketplace.
Bobby from Legacy says, off to the brick to buy a new washer and dryer. Code word Gregor.
Bobby, we should promote that you're coming on Wanye's World.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, Legacy.
We're going to talk about it. I'll be like, you are a genius. Let's talk about.
I think there was a Twitter discussion about that once. Like, who does these? And Bobby told us.
Yeah.
They're great.
It's the same guy who does the Oodle Noodle jingles.
Oh, really?
Adam McGale.
And you're having
Bobby
on
Wanye's World, the podcast.
Not your segment, Wanye's World.
No. There's an actual podcast if you care to look. So I think it's done about 65 episodes.
Yeah, well, I know of it.
You listen to it?
Yeah, well.
Nah, don't worry.
I'm not a podcast.
I wouldn't if I were you.
If you went live on YouTube, I would watch.
Would you?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I love YouTube. That's where I get most of my content.
Well, Bobby's coming on because we want to talk about, like, that's a really good ad campaign, man.
Yeah.
That Legacy Heating and Cooling ad. I'm a big fan of radio ads and local marketing and stuff. That's got to be top 5 campaigns in the last 10 years.
Oh, for sure.
Wanye Jr., who, as I just mentioned, just turned 4, looks a lot like an 8-year-old girl in a water slide, but that's neither here nor there. He can sing the jingle, and he doesn't need heating and cooling, but that ad has reached his little brain.
I'm telling you, Alarm Force.
Yeah.
That will always be in my brain.
For sure.
The Legend of the Chevy Farm, Westgate Chevrolet will always be in my brain, and Legacy Heating and Cooling, always in the brain.
Do you remember the OG Oodle Noodle ads that sang the telephone number to order? We spent years advertising with Adam McGale, Jingle King, 271, 71, 71 or something. And then we stopped it for online ordering.
Yeah.
We're like, well, that's great. There's been a disruption to the noodle industry.
Stu follows up just saying, hold on, let me go back here. Power Hour at Globe was amazing. It was like a Shep reunion every time I went there. I loved the Globe.
Love the Globe.
Globe was sick. Just off Jasper, right? And wasn't it crematorium?
Yeah.
Like
originally. Remember had the dance catwalk? Up top, above the dance floor, there was a catwalk.
Really?
And then down below was a bar.
I just remember it was a blast every time I went. Shep reunion, probably, because I would always go there and have a good time.
Yes.
As
Are you a Shep guy?
I am.
How interesting.
Former T-Bird.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Went there a couple of years ago to speak for Career Day.
Full circle.
So much nicer than when I went there.
Oh.
They put a lot of funding into it. The gym is amazing. Weight room, yeah. Shout out Shep. And Bobby says Adam McGale is the king of radio ads.
He is.
The king.
Bobby knows.
Also says Club Malibu. I know you were a Club Malibu guy.
No, before my time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you and Gregor talked about that one.
Well, I was aware of it. Like, I knew that it existed. The one downtown a couple times I went to. The Morgue. Remember that one? Over by Club Malibu University. Remember that one?
Nope.
That's in the old Armory. Remember the Armory building?
Nope.
Oh, my God.
I think there was a downtown location. Or Jasper.
I think they had one in
White
the mall.
Ave.
They had one in the old Globe.
Okay.
And then they had one on White Ave.
Jason T just says, hey guys, before it was Globe, it was the Morgue on Jasper Avenue. Yeah. I thought it was a crematorium.
It was an actual morgue.
Yeah.
So all the bars are like, haha.
Definitely haunted.
I had some of the greatest comeuppance of my life happen to me in the Globe. Do you want to hear about it, Connor?
Yeah.
One time I was down below at the Globe at a party and some guy goes, hey, there's girls dancing on the catwalk and you can see up their skirts. And I went, holy moly. And I popped my head out. I knew every single one of those girls, including my own girlfriend, Connor. I had to walk all the way upstairs and tell them, you got to stop dancing up here. Everybody's trying to look up your skirts. And they're like, you're a gentleman, Wanye. And I said, well, mostly.
Yes.
And then we all filed off together. So when they knocked that building down, I was like, there goes the catwalk of comeuppance.
I knew that was going to be your response. Oh my gosh, I have to go tell them.
I have to go look.
Good guy.
And then I had to go tell.
We'll take a break. When we come back, more of your text, our Oilers hot takes that we said we'd get to. We can get to those, Wanye's World, and a whole lot more. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Also, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, X, and Sports 1440's Instagram, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg. Worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. 22 million up for grabs in the Lotto Max. PlayAlberta.ca. Remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Kate the Great with you here, keeping you on track. The text rolling in. Whenever we talk about old bars, people have a lot to say. Dennis says, I met my wife in 1996 at Boca's in the old Beaumaris Mall and still married. Beaumaris, North Side, right?
Unbelievable. Yeah. Boca's was legit.
Did you go?
Before my time, but I heard about it.
Heard the stories?
Yeah.
Rod says 70s were better. All the bars had great bands. Ranger Nick texting in. No. Globe used to be called Club Malibu, the Morgue.
Yeah.
Boys, Ezzy used to have a breathalyzer machine. Guys would compete to get the highest score. Man, that's like such early 20, late teen behavior, hey?
Oh, yeah.
How high can I get it?
We used to, at Cowboys, go try to play the racing machine of cars and be like, we're not ready to dance yet. We can barely drive the video car. And then we would go back to the shooter bar.
Get the liquid courage and get going.
Yep.
King of Four Nasty says, many a pub crawl ended at Cowboys. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in La Pearl, which is right over the berm from Cowboys.
Yep.
So we would take the walk there many a time, finding out that the pub crawl would end at Cowboys. Like, oh, no cabs? Okay, that's perfect. Good times.
Good
going out to
times.
Cowboys. JC says, guys, the joint in West Ed was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
$1 highballs on Friday night.
And they would, I believe, they would play this Thunderstruck at midnight all the time because it was a rock bar that joined.
Now, I think that was Union Hall.
They did
but
it too.
They both did it?
I believe they both did it.
But Union Hall had a different name at the time.
I was at a bar in London, England once, and at midnight they played the Friends theme and made fun of Americans. And everybody was like pointing at me and laughing. And I kept going, I'm Canadian, you British sons of guns.
Yeah.
I think playing songs at midnight is a thing.
Dealey Stan says, convention in South, basement bar, late 70s, ordered huge trays of draft beer in the ALCB glasses with measurement lines under $10. What was the bar? The Strat. And you could get like a jug of beer for something stupid.
The old Strathcona Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies on pub crawls. They would stop at a bar we didn't like. We'd get out, run to the Strat, get a jug, and then have our friends like text us, bus is leaving. Meet them back at the bus. Cheaper way to get things done. Diesel Dave said, I met my current partner at Barry T's in 93, talked for 2 minutes, realized she was 16. Never saw her again until 3 years ago. Okay, Diesel Dave.
3 years ago?
That's wild. That is a crazy story. Respect, that took me on a turn. Thought I might have to call the authorities.
Different times, Connor. Different times.
But you really saved yourself with that one.
Different times.
That's crazy. That would have been a 20-ish year, 25 year gap. Like, hey, you and I talked to Barry T's once. That's crazy. Because Barry T's has been gone for a long time, right?
He's like, I've been worried about it for 30 years because you were 16 years old.
HVAC Nick says Thursdays at Whiskey Jack's was a great time. That was the country bar in the mall, but you had to go in outside the mall.
Oh, down below.
Yeah. HVAC Nick, you and I may have ran into each other there because me and the crew would occasionally end up there after cheap wings at La Pearl Pub, which eventually became Gators.
Oh, Gators.
Yeah. Did you go there?
I knew Gators.
Do you know the owners?
It was an offshoot of Beer Hunter.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where I used to go. Good time. Hey, guys. The old bar in SAR used to be the best place to go. That's where I met Daryl Sutter for the first time. I met my wife from Trav the Hardesty. Okay, so you met Daryl Sutter and your wife.
Or he's married to Daryl Sutter.
Which would be cool.
I'm not quite following.
Rob says Thunderdome. Yeah, that's what the bar.
Yeah.
That's what Union Hall used to be, I think, right? Yeah.
You could look through the little port in the wall. It was a little window and watch people playing men's league hockey. The original River Cree.
Felix says Rock City 3-for-1 Tuesdays. 3-for-1. Not too bad. I went to Squires one night. It was free booze from 9 to 11.
What?
Free drinks. Squires was a good time, though. I had some good times there.
Free booze. I don't know about that.
Joe says, oh, Connor, that must mean you went to La Pearl Pub back in the day. And that was actually a pretty crazy place. Used to jump the burn and hit Cowboys, too. Too funny until I got attacked there once. LOL, Joe. Well, Joe, I'm sorry to hear that happened to you there. But yeah, La Pearl Pub for cheap wings. And then walk. Sometimes you cab, depends who you're with. Hop the berm and then walk over to Cowboys. Good times for Thursday nights.
Didn't a car one time
yes,
pin it and drive up the berm and shoot Dukes of Hazzard style into the night sky?
Yeah, but it was during the day. I was at my babysitter's for lunch. We were just down the street. You know exactly where I grew up. I grew up right down that street.
Okay,
that was a big deal.
What happened?
She thought she was being chased by the cops or something, and she just jumped the berm and cleared the house. There was screws and car parts on that street for months. Yeah.
Wow.
You remember that?
I remember that. I was you
must
know
what?
Been...
You got La Pearl connections.
Yeah.
Sotheby?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I lived in La Pearl.
Really?
No. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I lived in La Pearl for a while.
Great area.
92A Ave. Is that considered La Pearl? Right near the mall. 92A Ave. You can come out and see the mall from the front street. See the little pyramid.
We'll Google map it.
Well, there we go.
The break. 1-833-401-1440. We are going to get back to sports, I promise you, but a lot of texts rolling in here. when it comes back to the bars. Cat Dad says Barry Tees was known also as Barely Teen, so that previous story about meeting a 16-year-old makes sense. King of Fort Nasty says girls in bird cages at the rum. I guess that's Rum Jungle.
We should do a new show, Connor. Maybe on an even higher AM station than 1440. Maybe 1520. It's just called Bars That Aren't Here Anymore. And we just think about bars that aren't here anymore. I go, that was a good bar.
Old bars, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a topic.
The best.
In the 90s, a bunch of us went to Malibu University on 25-cent draft night, spent $200 in gift certificates on 25-cent draft. Mike, legendary story. How were you the next day, I wonder? It would have been tough. Dennis Savard was a chain-smoking champion at Cowboys in 96 after the Blackhawks played the Oilers. Like where the NHL players would hang out around town after a game.
Everywhere.
I don't think that happens anymore. Like occasionally.
They're not chain smoking.
They're not chain smoking.
That's for sure.
IMAX says there used to be a place on Jasper Ave called the Limelight. Had 99-cent highballs one time. My buddy had a $100 bill. Ended up with $16 left. No tips. Almost ended up in the hospital. 84 drinks.
No tips. No, you're doing this to me. You don't get a tip.
You should have tipped, buddy. T-Man says Goose Loonies, King's Night Pub. I know Gregor's talked about King's Night.
Oh, yeah.
It was like free drinks until somebody went to the bathroom or something.
How can drinks be free? That's just crazy to me. That's just asking for trouble.
It is. That is crazy. HVAC Nick says that's Belmead.
Belmead, you're right.
Belmead, yeah.
Thank you.
La Pearl's north of 95th. Yeah. I should have known that. He's a Summer League kid, so you're just north of the mall here. Look at us, West Enders.
Belmead.
Brendan also saying, I think that's Belmead.
Yeah.
Just to crush them in community league soccer. Belmead never had a chance.
Would you?
Yeah. Jason T. Hey guys, before it was Thunderdome, it was Goose Loonies. It's funny how these bars just circulate names. There's going to be a new Goose Loonies, I bet, in the next 10 years.
Oh, that'd be sick. I can remember the ads. It had a jingle.
How was it?
Well, I can't sing, but it was good. And as a little kid, I knew where I was going to go when I turned 18.
That was the spot. Fast Eddie's on Argyle. $5 cover, free draft until the first person went to the washroom or left the building. Teamwork. Everyone's got to get together.
Now that I remember at Cowboys, the front half of the bar was where all the guys went because the back half of the bar, they were watching the male dancers dance like Magic Mike.
Ladies' night.
So we would go to the front and you could drink draft, but if you had to go to the bathroom, that was the end of your night.
What was the old bar at the Mayfield Inn?
Gas pump.
No.
It was the gas pump, but it would turn into something
became
else.
something else.
No, gas pump was downtown.
The Mayfield bar, me and my buddies would go there occasionally. They wouldn't let you take a drink on the dance floor.
How am I supposed to dance?
I'm like, what do I do with my hands then?
Yeah.
I need 2 drinks in my hands. So I don't have to worry about that.
I remember
The gallery.
Mort's in Red Deer.
Never
Go down
been
there. The dance floor had VLTs on it. You could
Really?
dance, turn around, and make money.
That's awesome. It's problematic, but it's awesome.
You could win while you're winning.
The Gallery, Mayfield. Yeah, a lot of people texting in the Gallery. If you know what the Gallery Inn in Mayfield is, I know why you went there.
You've lived.
We all know why you went there. You wanted to meet a mature person. That was 100% the reason. And everyone's saying it too. Everybody knows. You went there for the Cougars. It was a Cougar bar. That is exactly what they're saying. Yeah, we all know. Let's take a break, Wanye, because I want to get to 5 questions. I know
Sports stuff.
Yeah, sports stuff.
Love sports stuff.
Quickly, what's your hot take for the Oilers? I'll tell you what mine is.
I honestly think Jeff Skinner is going to have an unbelievable season, and everyone's going to refer to him as new Zach Hyman, because I think between Zach Hyman and Jeff Skinner, we've had 2 free agents now of real note sign here.
I was going to say he sets a career high in goals.
Yeah.
41.
Sure. Imagine he did.
And Zach Hyman goes back-to-back 50 goals.
So good.
Power play merchant.
Might reopen Mezzi's just to party there.
We'll take a break. When we come back, 5 questions with Declan Kruger. You're watching and or listening to the Jason Gregor Show, of course, on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Pig-Out presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see JasonGregorPizzaPigout.com.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Come work with our professional team of scientists, engineers, and club builders and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
The Bricks semi-annual sale is back. For 4 days only, take advantage of incredible deals in every department, like up to 40% off mattresses, up to 30% off bedroom dining furniture, and up to 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair at ticket price. Plus, find up to $1,400 off sectionals and up to $400 off big screen TVs. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. Hurry in, for the sale, it only happens twice a year at the Brick, saving you more.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And now the value is better than ever. Don't miss your chance to pay what Ford employees pay. During the factory authorized employee pricing event, you'll see real invoice pricing on all vehicles, like savings up to $16,000 on Super Duty models. It's Ford employee pricing, but only until September 30th, where cars always cost less. Denham Ford, in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Here on Sports 1440, watching on Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and X. We appreciate you tuning in today. Hit that like button if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube. We would really appreciate that one. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Kate the Great with you here at the EWEL Studios in West Edmonton Mall. 1-833-401-1440. That is a text line. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, we're going to get to 5 questions. Brought to you by The Brick. Check out The Brick's semi-annual sale. A sale so hot that it only happens twice a year. Get up to $400 off big screen TVs and up to 40% off mattresses at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1. Following Shohei's 50-50 season's not over yet, but following him reaching that threshold, what is the most impressive sports feat you've seen?
I'll give you 2 because I want to. And there's lots out there. One season for me, I'll always remember LaDainian Tomlinson, his MVP season back in 2006. He had 28 touchdowns on the ground, another 3 through the air, 31 touchdowns in 16 games. If you had him in fantasy football, I'm sure you won your league, but it was just unbelievable what he was doing. And he was so important to that team's success. So that's a personal one for me. And I'm old enough to remember Kobe's 81 points, and it sucked for a Raptors fans. So putting up 81, we still haven't seen the film of the 100-point game.
Apparently there is film of it, though.
I don't think so.
I saw a documentary that said there is some short film.
I'd read the game was never recorded in any capacity.
We have footage of like the first selfies of all time, but we don't have that one. So
I thought that too until I saw it. I'll go look, but I won't, but I'll pretend to. But I definitely saw a documentary that said there is some footage, but not really anything conclusive of him getting 100 points.
We just got to trust him. What do you got, Wanye?
Honestly, 2 things spring to mind. Number 1 is just Connor McDavid living up to the hype because it was crazy. I remember his first rookie year. Remember when he kept saying, if I make the team, if I make the team, if I make the team. And it wasn't how many games in the NHL until we knew Connor McDavid was as advertised? 10, maybe? Not a lot. Second thing that was the best was watching Tiger win the Tiger Slam. That was crazy. Destroying everybody. The peak of his power. Those are my two.
I'm going with Eliud Kipchoge running a sub 2-hour marathon.
What the heck are you talking about, Declan? Is that one of your Saw movies?
No, that is a Kenyan distance runner.
Okay.
Question number 2. Elks in action this weekend, hosting the Bombers. Line is currently 1.5 for the Bombers. Can we get a score prediction and a bold prediction from you guys?
I'm going to say Elks win just because I'm a bandwagon guy and I don't want to be that guy. And that's my bold prediction. Elks win.
Yeah, I mean, got to go with the home team. Got to root on the Elks. I will say we're seeing a lot of points. 35-32. Get a Rouge in there. And Trey Ford is involved with 4 touchdowns, whether it's running or passing. So big game for Trey Ford. Declan, what do you got?
I am going to say the Elks win 37-31. And my bold prediction will be there's a kick return touchdown.
Oh,
yeah.
I like it.
Number 3, WHL season gets going today. Oil Kings in action, taking on the Lethbridge Hurricanes. How do they do this season?
I got them as a playoff team. I'm not exactly sure where they'll slot, in the top of the league. Maybe it's a 7 or 8 seed, but looking at the roster, I like some of these young players. And that's just the cycle of the WHL, junior hockey in Canada, right? You go on a bit of a run, you have some success, and then you got to rebuild for the most part. I feel like, Portland and the London Knights can find ways to keep it going, however they do that. But for the Oil Kings, I'm going to say a playoff team and a team on the rise to watch out for.
How are the Oil Kings doing? If by that you mean how are the Moose Jaw Warriors going to do this year, Declan? The answer is it remains to be seen because we won the Memorial Cup. No, we didn't. We won the WHL. And like you just mentioned, Connor, it's hard to build a dynasty in junior hockey. So I'm worried about the Warriors, but I've got this afterglow of the WHL championship tonight. They're raising the banner in Moose Jaw. And yes, I wanted to be there, but I'll have to wait for the next one. We've been in the league 50 years and hadn't had one, 70 years. So I'll wait for the next one.
Do they repeat?
I don't think it's possible.
Okay. Number 4. No passing touchdowns so far for any rookie quarterbacks this year in the NFL. Who gets the first one?
I'll say Caleb Williams.
Probably a good pick. Now, the one thing that might worry me about Caleb Williams getting that one, does he play in the later slate or is he in the first slate?
Ooh.
Okay, he's in the first slate of games. Against the Colts, on the road. To be different, I'll go with Bo Nix.
He ran one in, so
yeah, he has the experience. He's playing Tampa, could be tough, but I'll go Bo Nix. It's crazy, Declan. Through 2 weeks and 1 game, a rookie quarterback has not thrown a touchdown.
Which is exactly why I'm taking Michael Penix Jr. Question number 5.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not actually taking Michael Penix. I'd probably say Caleb as well. Yeah.
Good pick.
Question number 5. Your Mount Rushmore of soda.
Declan, I'm going to have a confession here to you on the air. I used to drink a lot of soda, so much so that family members would say, Wanye, something's going to happen to you if you keep drinking all that soda. One day I wised up. I haven't had a drip since, honestly, 2012. So on my Mount Rushmore, I still dream about drinking it. Diet Coke. But it can never cross my lips. I'll put it on all 4 heads. Diet Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Coke.
So, hey, can't go wrong with that. I'm fine with that.
How tough was that to just quit cold turkey?
Really hard.
Because I love carbonation.
That's why I drink all the stupid soda water.
I'm on the bubbly wagon now. You convinced me.
I'm just pretending.
Also, when did Darnell Nurse's sister Tamika get into broadcasting? She's on TSN right now. Side note, keep listening to the radio.
Yes, never turn off the radio.
Declan, that's a really good question. I like Wanye. I am a huge soda fan.
Still?
I'm trying to cut back. Like you gotta at a certain age. You can't keep living that lifestyle. But I think I've assembled a pretty good list. Now, Coke is a classic, but it's not going to crack mine. Dr. Pepper, Vanilla Coke, Mountain Dew Code Red, and A&W Root Beer.
That is a good Mount Rushmore.
Mountain Dew Code Red.
So good. I don't know if it was really in the game when you were in the game.
No.
It is like a cherry explosion. It's delicious.
Isn't that like, well, never mind. We're on the radio. I didn't think that a lot of people drank that drink, Mountain Dew Code Red.
I think it's like the official drink of gamers.
Good heavens.
I made that up totally, but
No, that checks.
but Code Red is sick in a good way. Yeah.
What's the code of Code Red? They're like, we took pure sugar and added in an element of danger.
Source code.
Code Red, I don't know actually why they named it, but Mountain Dew, like they have all their varieties, like high
Extreme,
voltage,
yeah.
and the new Halloween one, Boo something.
Oh, come on.
We went to a specialty shop. I went to a specialty shop and brought in all these specialty Mountain Dews, and it was like Freedom Frost, and it was like American Pride drinks.
And this is delicious?
They were okay. Some were better than other, but yeah, Mountain Dew really goes wild. So,
Declan, what you got?
I'm going to go Diet A&W Root Beer as my Washington. I am going to go Diet Ginger Ale as my Lincoln. I am going to go Diet Dr. Pepper as my Jefferson. And I am going to go Pepsi Lime as my Madison. I think Madison's the fourth.
You forgot the greatest president of all time, Harrison Ford in Air Force One. He, too, should be on Mount Rushmore.
True.
Harrison Ford.
But yeah, Diet Dr. Pepper, Diet A&W Root Beer, Diet Ginger Ale, Pepsi Lime. Can't go wrong.
Diet Ginger Ale has to be Canada Dry, right?
Always Canada Dry.
Thank you. Just had to make sure.
If I was locked on a space station and everybody else had fled and I was the only person left and there was only Diet Ginger Ale left in the space vending machine, I would pass. That's how disgusting I think Diet Ginger Ale is.
Really?
I wouldn't even drink it on the space station. I'm probably facing death.
Yeah, I wouldn't go diet, but I do like ginger ale. I like a Fresca every once in a while.
Ginger ale is what my grandma would give me if I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah, it's good.
Why recreate that feeling? Love my grandma. Ironically, I wasn't feeling well because I ate too much sugar.
Let me paint a picture for you, Wanye. You're sitting home on Monday. You get under the blanket. You grab a pack of soda crackers. You watch Price is Right, and you crack a ginger ale. Doesn't that sound nice?
Are you ill or just faking? This is just living the life.
You're just reminiscing of the good old days.
Interesting.
Sick from school with your grandma.
Sometimes as an adult, I will pretend to be sick, but not have to convince anyone and just stay home.
Yeah.
And I knew it as a kid. I would do that as an adult. I knew it.
James McKenna says, can we talk sports?
Yes, James.
James, were you listening through our whole bar talk? Wow, we've been away from sports for a while.
We're trying, James, but it's September 20th. There's very little to talk about.
We did have a text come in here. I want to say it was from Shovelhead. Hey, guys, what do you think of the NFL's new kickoff rules? To me, it's a waste of time. How they just line up at the or why not just line up at the 30-yard line? Shovelhead. I don't know if you've seen the kickoff rules, Wanye.
No.
I think that it was something they're trying to do, right? They're trying to bring the kickoff back. The game was very exciting, in the early 2000s with the Dante Halls and Cribbs and Devin Hester. So they're trying to do something to make it a little bit more exciting. I don't mind it. I like that they're trying new things to make the game more exciting and make special teams matter, because it was brutal last year. Like that last year is when I would have said, why not just start off on the 20? Why are we even kicking it through the end zone? These kickers are just bombing it. So they're trying to do something, which I give them credit for. A lot of professional leagues are very hesitant to do these things. So the NFL trying that, I give them credit for. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like there's a way around it. Teams are just willing to kick it into the end zone and let offenses start on the 30.
Remember when the first time the XFL came back and they had to run for the ball?
That was
the
good
opening play of the league. The guy dislocated his shoulder.
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, really? Yeah. Jeez.
There's some sports news.
There you go. That was the XFL back in the day was a lot of fun. He hate me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best speeches ever, like pregame before the XFL championship game. I don't know if you saw it.
No, what happened?
Oh, it was basically just like, I don't want to butcher it, but the quarterback was injured. And he just basically talked about like, hey, this is the XFL, baby. This is why we do it. And like basically just disregarded his entire injury. And he was like, I'm good to go. I'm fine.
Wow.
And I'm sure he was playing with a ton of painkillers. But that's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. I have a sports topic. What do you make of the final Oakland A's game selling out? And now they want to open up the part of the stadium that they built, Mount somebody or other, for the Raiders games. And they want to have a full sellout for the final game in Oakland.
I think that it is a very nice gesture by the fans. Why are you rewarding? Like, this is maybe a F you to the ownership. Like, we're going to sell it one more time and everything. It's good for the players, but
I think it's like A's fans remembering something that's larger than the current owner, right? The A's were there for a long time. I mean, the Bash brothers, they have a really long history as a franchise. I think they're just saying goodbye.
That's it. I mean, that kind of it. Like, if you avoid going to games because of the owner and you just want to go to one final game, it's kind of cool. It sucks. I feel bad for Oakland. Like, first you lose the Raiders to Vegas. Now you're losing the A's. And it's not going to be, 2 more years, I think? They're building the stadium on the Strip, so they're going to go play in the Giants AAA
Why are they
facility.
doing that? Like, I don't...
It's bad. I think the writing was on the wall. I think, fans obviously weren't showing up. The owner running a business probably said, well, we're not doing this for 2 more years. Let's just go play somewhere where you can try to fill it up. But
it's crazy that the White Sox are drawing as poorly as they're drawing and the A's are drawing as poorly as they're drawing. Like, you've got 2 MLB teams. Their capacity is like 0.2% full.
AZ also, they also lost the Cali Golden Seals. But they have the sharp. Like,
I feel like that stung less than losing the Raiders.
If we're talking Bay Area, you got the Niners, you got the Warriors. Sharks are kind of close to the Bay.
Isn't there a rumor that the Warriors might move to San Francisco?
They already did. They have a new stadium.
The new Oracle Suite or whatever it's called is in.
Pretty positive they moved.
Okay.
Maybe Declan. I don't know if you know the confirmation on that one.
They did. I'm trying to remember what year it was. Yeah, it was like
2019.
29. Yeah, okay. Perfect.
So they're still in the Bay, but they're across the Bay, out of Oakland.
One time I went to a Golden State Warriors game right before Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know any players on either team and fell asleep.
The Baron Davis era?
I couldn't even tell you.
Monte Ellis, baby.
Monte Ellis.
I went there to be social, and it was boring as hell.
It would be and I think anytime you got to go to a basketball game, it'd be cool to take it in for a little bit, but not so much.
They weren't good, and honestly, I didn't know any of the storylines. Like, I need context.
Yeah,
this was just I was with internet types who said, "Let's go to the game,"
and then you went and
fell asleep. They woke me up.
No,
I was like, "Oh, did a hockey game break out?"
No,
nope,
did not happen.
No hockey.
Wanye, thanks for doing this today.
Oh, I can stick around till 6.
Oh, you're sticking?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you said 2 to 5.
I can do till 6.
You got Spec and Low Tide
I make
coming
calls.
up.
That's fine.
All right. Well, that's awesome.
Let's keep
Then
going.
we'll talk to you in a few minutes. We will take a break, though. When we come back, Mark Spector will join us. Talk some Oilers, Elks. I want to pose the question to him as well. Like, Shohei Otani, what he did yesterday. Unbelievable. What else is in that category? And we'll see what Low Tide thinks, too, because Low Tide guy's like a memory bank. He remembers everything. So we'll see what he thinks as well. But before that, we are going to get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Check out Booster Juice's secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app. Smoothies too delicious to keep under wraps. Download the Booster Rewards app today to see the secret menu. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, the Utah Hockey Club have locked up Edmonton native Dylan Gunther for the long term. The team announced an 8-year extension for the winger on today. The deal will begin with the 25-2026 season. Other hockey signings, the Devils have signed restricted free agent Dawson Mercer to a 3-year, $12 million contract. And in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens have signed running back Justice Hill to a 2-year extension worth $6 million, keeping him under contract through the 26th NFL season. New England Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo did say today that Jacoby Brissett will remain the team's starting quarterback. 2 games in the CFL today, it all gets going. In about 1 minute's time here as the Hamilton Tiger Cats are in Toronto taking on the Argonauts. Later on today, we'll see the Rough Riders in Calgary taking on the Stampeders. One final in the MLB from earlier today. It was the Cubs over the Nats 3-1. 2 games in action right now. Reds leading the Pirates 1-0, and the Jays and Rays tied 0-0 in the bottom of the first. WHL action gets going today. Season opener, Edmonton in Lethbridge taking on the Hurricanes. A 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Rule number 41. Never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these fine folks from the swift completion of their appointed work, or something like that. They're the fine folks at GS Construction, and they do like to do their job, which could be infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and dedicated maintenance and emergency repairs. Interested in working for such a fine outfit? GS Construction is always on the lookout for great workers. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here from Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Your juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait, guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Ocean's Tide, the Berry Bloom, the Raspberry Rapture, the Strawberry Dip, or the Go Mango. Made with mangoes, pineapple, and yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use promo code SUMMER, get a $50 casino play with a minimum $5 deposit. Also tonight, you got $22 million up for grabs with Lotto Max. You can get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. And remember to use your Game Sense, GameSense.ca. Stay within your limits. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Wanye Gretz with you here at the eWell Studios here in West Edmonton Mall, where the real power place to shop. eWell.ca for all your electrical needs. Online 24/7. eWell.ca is your partner in power. We were talking about random bars back in the day. Jamie says, I beer bonged at Cowboys back in the day. I don't want to think about how many other people used that beer bong.
They had a beer bong at Cowboys?
I do not recall that.
That's OG. That could be because of the beer bong, Connor.
Probably. Also, Denny says Purple Onion. Buck of drink specials. Also, Ernie's Rock Pit downstairs at the old Bonnie Doon Mall.
Oh, Bonnie Doon Mall had a bar in it?
Malone's in the Capitol Motor in Southeast Side, 25-cent highballs, 7 to 9. And then we were talking about the mall, or the one at the Mayfield, the gallery. It was also dancing shoes.
Oh my goodness.
Way back when. The memories that trickle in when we start talking about bars, eh?
People say they don't want to talk about bars, but they do want to talk about bars. And that's why this radio station is called Bars 1440.
Rebranding.
Yep.
for the next. No, we'll get back to sports here. We're going to talk to Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet in the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. They specialize in underground infrastructure. They make your life more enjoyable with running water and indoor plumbing. They are the grinders of construction. GS Construction. We bring in Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. Spec, good evening. How are you doing today?
Oh, I like all this talk, all those bars. I used to drink at every one of those places, buddy.
If you could go back and spend one night in one now defunct bar, which would it be?
Oh, boy, Essie's was a lot of fun in its day. I used to drink, we used to go to see bands at a place called the Highwayman.
Where was that?
Way in the south side. My buddy's sister's friend, her name was Pinky. She used to serve us buckets of beer in there when we were about 16 years old. Saw Long John Baldry in there one time.
Not a bad time.
It must have been sweet, Spec, when all the local bars had live music.
Yeah, there was live music. Nobody carded anybody back in those days. Like, there was no such thing as getting your ID. No one even left the house with ID. You didn't need it. They just let you in. You know, if you look 16, they said, you must be 18. Yeah, those were fun places. The Bev Crest, used to go see a rock band up at the Bev Crest once in a while. There was a little hotel, on the 8th Ave. I think it was called the Vega back in the day. It was a lot of fun. Commercial hotels always been my favorite, boys. Always loved Blues on White, still do to this day.
Oh yeah.
We had a few people texting in about that. Like, it was so much easier to get into bars at 16 plus back in the day. I had the dang scanners, so unless I had a fake ID, I wasn't getting in, so I didn't even try. But I'm a little envious of those sorts of things, Spec. We've been told to get to sports.
Well, stick to sports, they say, right?
I want to ask you, Spec, you've been around the players here, obviously, for a long time, especially with this new era of the Oilers team. And last year we heard about it, cup or bust. There was the captain's skates, and obviously fatigue played a little bit of a factor in this season. Just in the last couple of years, how much have you changed or seen this group change and evolve when it comes to the leadership group outwards, and kind of just how they look at the upcoming season?
Yeah, you know what? I got a piece actually on exactly that today on sportsnet.ca, and it's, you know, they've taken all the different runs at it here. You know, they've come at it as underdogs when they lost to Colorado, and then they thought they could win, and they kind of feel like they blew it against Vegas, and then they went at it again last year and absolutely succeeded all the way to the very end, and you know, they just didn't get it done. So I guess I'd say to you that this group of players, certainly the core, they've taken every road that you can take that doesn't end in the Stanley Cup. There's really I'm not sure there's another way to go at it without winning that they haven't tried. So I think what they've learned is patience. We didn't see, you know, everybody in here after Labor Day weekend. We see players who we're probably going to see really good players playing 2 preseason games this year. Everybody's fit. Everybody's ready to go. I think there's just an air of, you know, Chikai here. We're going to win some games. We got to win games along the way, but the big games at the end, we got to be ready for. And we're not going to the games in October and November are important. You can't go 2-9-1, but we're not going to show up like with our hair on fire here. Right. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah.
Is 8 preseason games too many, Spec?
Well, it is for teams like Edmonton because there's no jobs available. You know, it's not for a team like Calgary because there's a bunch of jobs available, right? So, sure. I mean, go talk to the owners, the Daryl Cates, and they're making money on the games. That's why they're playing them. The players don't want them. Connor McDavid needs 2 games. He doesn't need 8 games. He's going to watch 6 of them. So, yes, 8 games are too many.
Fair.
Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joining us here. So when you look at this team going into these preseason games, like you said, not too many jobs up for grabs. So what are the storylines fans might want to watch out for?
Well, I got nothing new for you. We're trying to find a defense partner for Nurse. Everybody knows that. I'm not huge on what's going on in the fourth line. It just seems like the fourth line in Edmonton is just all the guys that can't make the top 9, and they're just kind of assembled there. I don't see a great deal of anything, any purpose or anything special, any identity on the fourth line. I'm not big on that, but hey, it's the fourth line. How many teams have a great fourth line? You got all year to figure that out, so I'm not going to panic about that. So, and we know who the goalies are going to be, and we know who the top 9 is going to be, and we know who, 6 of the top 7 defensemen are going to be. So there's not a lot of question marks here, boys, is there?
No, I would totally agree with you. I guess one storyline I am a little bit intrigued by, and it's not a major one, but Chris Knobloch and Paul Coffey, the rest of the staff, coming into a situation now where they're with this team from the start of the year, and they can maybe implement things, coach them up a little bit, as opposed to last year where they were just thrust into a situation and maybe expectations were a little bit lower because things weren't going as well. Now there are those expectations. Your team just went to the Stanley Cup final. How do you expect they can handle these expectations and have the guys ready and avoid what we saw last year to start the season?
I think that having learned the hard lesson, there's no question in anyone's mind they'll be ready to play these early games. They've also got a pretty soft start, 4 home games off the top, not against a bunch of great teams. So they've got every opportunity to have a good start. I think the leadership group will be whipping these players into not into a state of panic, but into a state of readiness. I think, to me, guys, the real goal here, the unspoken goal on this team is win the Pacific and maybe win the West or the President's Trophy. So when you get to these Game 7s, they're in your rink. Now, no one's going to say that today. No one's going to say our goal is, we're winning the Pacific. That would be a quiet goal. But I know that this team didn't love the fact that they played 2 Game 7s on the road last year. It starts with a good start, and it'll just go through the season. But this group doesn't have to talk a lot. They don't have to say a lot. I think there's enough veterans here. They know what's going on. And the old cup or bust thing, I think that's going to be sort of a time of the past.
Specco, we can speculate it on it, even if they won't. But I think the Edmonton Oilers have to be the odds-on favorites to win the Pacific Division for the first time in a long time. The Golden Knights, Kings, Canucks, obviously, will do their best. But when you look at this division, who do you think the 3 playoff teams will end up being out of the Pacific?
Well, I think LA is a bit of a, how would I say, they've been in the playoffs every year, so it's not like they're a dark horse. I just have a feeling that LA, they're dumping the 1-3-1, which I love. And I have a feeling there might be some life in LA. I think there might be a little better Kings team than maybe you thought. Vancouver's a very good team, but they're that team that led the league in shooting percentage last year. They're that team that overachieved by winning the Pacific. I mean, let's face it, a year ago we were wondering if they'd make the playoffs, and they won the division. So I would suspect that Vancouver will have a not the regular season this year than they had. They're still dangerous. They're still good. It would still be a hell of a playoff series if the Oilers and them meet up again. But I don't think they'll be a Pacific Division champion. And Vegas is just a solid, good team. I don't know how good they are, but there's your 4. It's really delineated, guys. Calgary's not very good. San Jose's not good. Anaheim's not good, right? There's 4 teams in this division. Seattle somewhere in the middle. Can Seattle make the playoffs? What do you think?
I mean, I hope so. I don't know if I have them in the playoffs, but I got a soft spot for the Kraken, so I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I think they might be kind of right on the cusp there. Mark Spector joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz sitting in. Spec, we got to talk on it a little bit yesterday. What Shohei Otani did, going 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases, 10 RBIs, 50-50. Like, the guy is an absolute freak, and I mean that in the best possible way. He still might be able to pitch in the playoffs. He hasn't been ruled out from that. Can you think of an individual game that is anywhere close to what Shohei did yesterday?
Oh, boy. I mean, all I can think of is Darryl Sittler's 10-point game against the Boston Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little kid, I mean, I watched that on a hockey night in Canada. I can barely remember it. I was like, what year did that happen? I don't even know anymore. I'm going to say 1973 or something. So, even all the great Gretzky games, I'm not sure. I mean, let's face it. The guy they're saying that was the greatest baseball game ever played by an individual player. Is that not what the consensus is?
I could not argue. If someone told me that, I can't think of anything better.
I don't think anyone's done all those things in a game. 2 home runs, 2 steals, 6 for 6, 10 RBIs. I'm not sure that my understanding is, and I haven't been paying much attention today, but I don't think anyone's ever done all that stuff. So we're talking about a guy that pulled out a baseball game in 150 years of baseball. Has never been accomplished. So I'm not thinking like, I don't think there's a hockey equivalent. I mean, again, is it Daryl Sittler getting 10 points? That's the most points ever scored in a game. I can't, even the great Wayne Gretzky, I'm not sure he ever had a game that rivals what Otani did last night.
Yeah, great campaigns, great seasons, but one game tough to match. That was 1976, February 7th. He did against the Bruins. So you were very close there, Spec. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And then I know I saw some people kind of critical that he went out there for that last at bat.
Forget it.
Did a 3-run shot. Are you kidding me?
Come on. I mean, the fans have waited. They're hanging around the ballpark. Their team's getting crushed. It's in Miami. They're getting beat by 10 runs. And most of the fans stayed around in case he got that last at bat. And now you're telling me you're going to pinch hit for the guy with all those thousands of people waiting? I mean, my goodness, the fans pay the freight. Give them the at bat. I love the Miami manager. He said it's bad baseball karma to not pitch to him, to not allow him to swing the bat. So come on. I had this argument with Carius this morning, and he was dead wrong. You gotta let him hit and let the fans enjoy the show. That's the best baseball game ever played by a human being, and you're gonna sit him down for his last at bat. Who the hell would do that?
I'm with you. Me and you are on the same team on this one. And we had people texting in like, don't forget when he at the World Baseball Classic when he struck out his teammate Mike Trout.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy's he's had some remarkable moments. Cannot wait to see him get into the playoffs and see what he might potentially be able to do. Spec, last question for you tomorrow. The Edmonton Elks taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A massive home-and-home series here between those two teams the next couple weeks. Thoughts on this game for the Elks, and you're going to head out and watch it?
Yeah, I'll watch it on TV. I won't be there. This is the one thing that Eddie Steele was saying about the Bombers is, they play real football. They control the line of scrimmage. They beat you by bullying you in the trenches. And that's, that's real football. That's where games are always won and lost. And the colder it gets in the CFL, the more important line play becomes. So I think we've got, the Elks beat Calgary twice, and don't take that away from them. That's good. But boys, Calgary's not a very good team, right? The Bombers are a huge step up. So now you got a home and home against the Bombers, and it's a really good measuring stick. And because, you got to win football games the ugly way now. They're not going to win this thing in the perimeter. They got to win the trenches if they're going to win it with the running game. If Trey Ford's going to have to get in and he's going to have to move around the pocket. I love all those things. So I'm excited to watch it. I think the Elks are ready for a challenge of this magnitude, but make no mistake, boys, the Blue Bombers aren't the Stampeders, right? They're a way better team than that.
Are you surprised, Spec, with the resurgent Elks? Like, we sat here a few weeks ago when the ownership changed and there was nothing going on.
Buddy, I haven't missed a quarter this year. Like, I watched them play every single game, the whole game. And that 0-7 run, like, I was ready to jump off a cliff, right? I'm sitting out here at the lake in the beautiful summertime, and I'm wasting my time watching an awful football team. Am I surprised that they're in playoff contention? Oh, my God. I'm absolutely floored that they're in playoff contention. Yes. Did you have any clue they would go from 0-7 to be a playoff contender?
I'm shocked as a casual fan sort of sitting on the sidelines just with no major moves, how different the team seems to be.
Yeah, I know. Well, the biggest change is that Chris Jones left. And to me, that was the turning point in their season, right? I think they lost 2 more games after that, and then they went on their run. And first of all, they're playing the quarterback that should have been playing all the way along. And that's a Chris Jones thing. So you know what? They made the right call. They jettisoned the coach. They got a much better team now. And, hey, let's see what happens. They can take a split against Winnipeg and then beat up on Regina, and let's go from there, boys.
And hearing at about 10 a.m. this morning, there was over 22,000 tickets sold. They're expecting to get at least a 25 with a good walk-up. Who knows? 17 degrees tomorrow as a high. I played a little football. That's perfect football weather. That's
Perfect football
needs-
weather. Good place to go have a cold beer at Commonwealth and watch a good football game. Get after it, boys.
Absolutely. Spec, thanks so much for doing this. We'll talk to you Monday.
All right, boys.
See you, Spec.
There you go. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. That is the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Online, gsconstruction.com. And pretty nice little segment there from Spec. Started off talking bars, got to some hockey, some baseball, and some football. That's well-rounded.
He said Calgary doesn't have a good team, talking about 2 different sports.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great.
I saw you smiling over
Yeah,
there.
the best. What a terrible city.
A couple of texts to get to. Manny saying, text lines 1-833-401-1440. Gentlemen, after Shohei Otani pitches a perfect game to win the World Series, he'll quarterback both the Rams offense and the Kings power play. Shohei Otani, the legend. Not Fred says, don't forget the Elks saw 3 straight games to walk off field goals. And during that 7-game losing streak, they weren't that bad. From Not Fred. I made that point. Walter had texted and he thinks good teams don't lose those close games. But I'm saying, yeah, the Elks weren't a good team. Like going into the season, they were not considered a good team. They were on the cusp. They just had to win that first game and they did so. And they haven't looked back. I mean, yeah, they've won games by blowouts. They haven't had to be close. Good teams win close games. Great teams blow everyone out. Just not saying the Elks are great, but
I saw a statistic the other day that blew my mind. 80 to 90% of visitors from Japan will go to Dodger Stadium when they visit LA.
Absolutely.
That's crazy, though, when you think about it.
Think about like the impact that he had, obviously playing in Anaheim, staying in LA. But then think of like Ichiro with Seattle. Like wherever he went, it was Japanese advertising. It's crazy the revenue they do.
I remember seeing a thing that said that Japanese companies, when Ichiro became a Mariner, all these Japanese companies contact the Mariners. Like, we'll take all the ads.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about?
Playbook Vic says, how many President's Trophies winners have gone on to win the Cup? Seems like more of a burden than an advantage. Most recently, Boston. Spending too much energy in the regular season puts a kink in the subconscious mind like they should beat anyone. I went and looked into that, so you don't have to. 8 times it has happened. The most recent time the President's Trophy winner won the Stanley Cup was the 2013 season, the Chicago Blackhawks. Before that, the Red Wings did it. You had the Red Wings again, the Avalanche. There was actually a span, 3 times in 4 years. The Dallas Stars also did it. Rangers in 93-94, Flames in 88-89, and the Oilers in 86-87. Of course, the first time it was handed out was in 86. So we could go back further and look at, top teams in the league and see how many times, but it's been done 8 times, but it hasn't been done in over a decade. So yeah, I think teams that at some point kind of turn their attention, like, let's just get to the playoffs and then we'll really get going.
You could argue that teams fire their coaches haphazardly, right?
I could.
But then you look at the Elks and you look at the Oilers this year, and like the coaching change and the manager change right before they do a 180. And I think that there's so many GMs and owners of teams around the world that understand, like, well, we can always just fire the coach because a new coach can come in and shuffle these cards differently. We can have a totally different outcome.
Absolutely. Cran Crush says, hey guys, it's Friday in sports. So mention that Harry and Lee High School, Harry and Lee, taking on Sal Comp at Emerald Hills. Yeah, we can do that. Declan, great response. We're mentioning AOB and Shep only. Yeah, the T-Birds football taking on the Crusaders of AOB. Declan, you're AOB.
Sir,
I'm Shep. Should we put a little wager on this?
Yeah, hold on, actually. Let me check.
Can you check the odds?
Yeah, let me check the line. Let me check the standings here for the old Metro.
You take a look.
Athletic Conference. I think AOB lost their first game to Ainley 50-6. Never great.
I think the T-Birds will be flexing tonight.
The standings page isn't loading, so I'm going to need some odds on this one because I do know AOB lost 50. Oh, hold on.
We can get to this when we come back. How about that?
Well, I have it right now.
Okay, yeah, I want it. Let's go.
Okay, AOB 0-2, not great. 12 points for 78 against. That's tough.
It's a tough one.
Ross Shep 1-1, 38 points for 30 against. So the smart money's on the T-Birds. If I bet the Crusaders,
I see. You're betting on children's sports, Declan.
Declan, if the T-Birds win, I'll buy you 2 diet A&W root beers. If they lose. If the T-Birds win, you buy me 1. Yes. 2-1 odds. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. We'll take a break. When we come back, more from Alan Mitchell. Well, I guess more. He was on earlier today. That counts. Not more on this show, but more in the grand scheme of life. And we'll also take more of your texts. 1-833-401-1440. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Board. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor Broadcasting Live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Bricks semi-annual sale is back. For 4 days only, take advantage of incredible deals in every department, like up to 40% off mattresses, up to 30% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair at ticket price. Plus, find up to $1,400 off sectionals and up to $400 off big screen TVs. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Hurry in, for the sale it only happens twice a year at the Brick, saving you more.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes, you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley. We've got Wanye Gretz and Declan Kruger with you here from the EWL Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You got some college football tonight. You got baseball, CFL, college football tomorrow, NFL. Lots of room for parlays. You can have some fun this weekend. But remember to use your game sense when you do so. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line. Right now, we are going to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. The Big Arch is here. Our biggest burger. It includes 2 quarter-pound, 100% Canadian beef patties, 3 slices of white processed cheese, crispy onions, pickles, lettuce, and a new and tangy, delicious Big Arch sauce. Only at McDonald's. We had them. They were delicious. I might get one on the way home.
I had one the other day. Delicious.
So good.
Delicious. And big.
Yeah. Filling. You'll just need one. I'd say you don't need the fries, but you need the fries.
You could have 2.
Alan Mitchell, host of the Lowdown Flow Tide, also writes at The Athletic, joins us. LT, good afternoon. How are you?
Good. I was listening to your conversation, and I agree with all the food takes you just had. Very good. Yep.
So good, Al. We'll bring you one of those one of these days. Hey, a question for you, because Declan Kruger and I have placed a bet because our old high schools are playing in football tonight. It's 2-1 odds. If the T-Birds, or when the T-Birds win, Declan will owe me one bottle of pop. If his team AOB wins, I owe him 2. We had a text that came in from Not Fred. He said, is the high school that Low Tide went to still standing? I apologize you're taking shots, but we got to set the record straight.
Well, yeah, Maidstone High School. I mean, last time I was in town, it was there. But yeah, I mean, I know lots of brilliant people have come out of there. Not me personally, but others.
Who is the most famous person to come out of Maidstone?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. I know there's some. When I lived there, there were a lot of for a small town, there were some people who had some reasonable amount of money. So, the Meyer family, stuff like that. So I'll say the Meyer family.
Your Wikipedia page does not have famous people from Maidstone. So I'm thinking we got to add that category and put you in there.
Well, let me do something to get famous first, because then it would just look silly,
You, LT, the way people talked about you when I first met you blew my mind. Like you were the king of the oilogosphere.
Yeah.
I'm looking here, LT. Not only is Maidstone High School still standing, but it has 900 proud Facebook followers. And I'll be darned if the senior boys didn't just win a gold medal at the Meadow Lake tournament for what appears to be basketball. So congratulations. Volleyball.
That's some tough basketball up there in Meadow Lake here. Turtleford is the hockey. They're just filthy over there. But the basketball goes a little farther north. So yeah.
Prison rules, I hear.
Yeah. By the way, if you're ever up like around Turtle Lake or even up to Meadow Lake or Loon Lake, beautiful areas, just gorgeous lakes. It is a beautiful part of the country. Highly recommend it.
And just to tell you, LT, a lot of people saying actually Low Tide 100% is the most famous person from Maidstone. So
no doubt.
You're doing it quite well.
You guys are too kind.
LT, we got preseason hockey coming up on Sunday, of course. The Oilers taking on the Jets, and then it's going to be a split squad game up against the Calgary Flames. Talking to Spec, talking to Gregor, it's kind of like, ho-hum, let's just get through the preseason. I know you follow the prospects very closely, though. Who are you watching out for in this preseason to see where they're at and what they might be able to do with the Condors?
Well, the Oilers are in a great spot. They've got so many high-skilled players. I don't think Leon Draisaitl's ever had two better wingers in his life. I mean, in order to get this kind of torque, you'd have to play in the McDavid line. But, Skinner and Arvidsson are really good players, but they're a little older. And I think you could run, Connor Brown up there and maybe Henrique as well. But I like this kid, Matthew Savoy. I've seen him play in junior. I know he's undersized. And I absolutely believe he will get sent to Bakersfield. But in the middle of the season, I think that if they run into injury problems, he is a guy we might see. He's really skilled. I also think Max Warner he's just 21, so I don't think he'll play much, if any, this year in the NHL. But he's a rugged bugger. He really is. He is a little bit filthy, and the fans are going to love him. I will be watching him as well. And then I want to see Noah Philp. I know he took a year off, but he was really close in Bakersfield when I saw him in 22, 23. If you'd asked me, he would have been the guy I picked to make the Oilers in the fall. And then as far as, players in Bakersfield are concerned, I think it's a big year for Olivier Rodrigue, the goalie. He is waiver eligible, but he's finished top 10 in save percentage in the AHL the last two seasons. And, I think the Oilers are set in goal. But Olivier Rodrigue has a story to tell, and hopefully he sees a little NHL action again this year as well.
LT, going into year two and their first full training camp, what kind of, maybe not changes, but what are the expectations for Coach Knobloch and the coaching staff with this team?
Well, I think we're going to see a lot more about what Chris Knobloch likes. When you take over a team in the middle of the year, there's not a lot you can do. You run the guys, and they were the underlying numbers were good under Jay Woodcroft, and luck was bad, but sometimes a change of scenery is good, and it really worked out. But now he gets to kind of design the team that he wants to see. He's got a lot of talent. There are two great skill lines. It looks like the third line is going to be that fantastic playoff line with Henrique and Janmark and Brown. What will the fourth line look like? They have some options. They could go with Derek Ryan. They could go with Noah Philp. They could go with Lane Peterson. They want skill. They want penalty killers. They want older players. Corey Perry is an example of a guy who, might not play every game, but he could be on the in the press box sometimes, maybe play 40, 45 games. On defense, it looks like they want a more rugged group, but they're also interested in Emerson over Stetcher, and that tells me that they believe Nurse can maybe move the puck better than he did last year. Maybe health has something to do with that. So I think that this is we remember the team we saw a year ago under Jay Woodcroft, and then we remember the team that Knobloch took to the playoffs. This is really Knobloch's first chance to look at the team, evaluate the players, and then decide on what he wants. So I would think we'll see a little more rugged team, and I bet he looks for speed. I don't know where he finds it, but there's some slow boats among the veterans. I think we'll see a little bit of speed added to this group. Not sure who that might be, but look for somebody who can burn a little.
Alan Mitchell joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley and Wanye Gretz sitting in. Declan Kruger here as well. LT, I got to say, I talked about it like 2 weeks ago on the show. I'm getting so sick of this storyline about the oldest team in the league, the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, they've got a couple older players, but it's bottom six, fourth line guys who might not be in the lineup all the time. You've got in your top six guys who are right there in their prime, and I'd much rather have that than what this team had back in the early days. Well, not the early days, the early 2000s, when you're just dependent on guys who are 19, 20, 21 years old. Like the whole storyline of this being the oldest team in the league to me is such garbage because it might be there, but you look at the core of the team and who they're going to count on. These are guys right in their prime.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have some age you're worried about. Ekholm's a little bit older. You need him to be Ekholm, but really at the key positions, McDavid. I mean, first of all, McDavid is what, 27? I can't remember how old he is, but he's going to be 40 before he slows down for foot speed. So this is still a young group. They're basically the key. The heart of this team is well under 30. Now you have some pieces around. Nuge is 30. Hyman is over 30. But the heart of the team, the center ice, up the middle, up the gut. Nurse is still a young player. I think the Oilers are like, if you add up all the ages and you say, okay, well, they're older, that's fair. But what would be even more fair is if you estimate the number of games and ice time and minutes players will play at their current age. And I know you're going to get a better number because the feature players, the guys who play the foundation positions, which is the top two lines, the third line center, the top four defensemen, and the goalie, they're pretty young. Like they're not an old team. I would suggest they're just, they've been deep a couple of times. They went to the final a year ago. They're just settling into their window. Stuart Skinner is a young guy. Evan Bouchard isn't old. Connor McDavid isn't old. Leon Draisaitl isn't old. Now, losing Holloway and Broberg sucks, no doubt about it. But I think those things can be overcome, and I think Emerson and Podkolzin are the first attempts at the answers. We'll see if they work or not. But I wouldn't worry about age on this team, not at all.
Now, LT, just looking around the NHL in this preseason, there is all those storylines, rookies coming to the league, seeing what they can do, first-year players. Outside of Edmonton, are there any preseason games you're going to try to follow along with as best as you can?
Follow Winnipeg. The Jets are a fun team. I have a small, I will confess I'm a nerd. You probably don't know this, but I have many obsessions, but one of my hockey obsessions is to watch the waiver wire. And the Winnipeg Jets always draft and develop players that I love. They always have. So I watch the Jets because, and then I know I'll write an article either at the blog or at Low Tide. Or at the Athletic. It'll be about Winnipeg Jets players who might hit waivers that I would be interested in the Oilers picking up. It's an annual obsession. I wish I could quit it, but it's like Crown Royal. I can't.
And why would you want to? Alan Mitchell, host of the Lowdown with Low Tide, writer at The Athletic, joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Al, before we let you go, got to ask you about the Edmonton Elks. They've gone on a heck of a run. Trey Ford going to get the start tomorrow with the Bombers in town. What are your expectations for this one?
Well, I think what I would really like is, because the West is all over the place. We've got Calgary and the Rough Riders playing. I just want to see some clearance on one of those teams. Like if if the Rough Riders win, that's fine, because then the Elks, if they win, they move another game ahead of Calgary. What the Elks need to do is get a good result, win that game against Winnipeg, and get to a point where second place is not just a possibility, but odds are 50-50 or better. This is a good football team, and they're on a roll. And they've got Trey Ford, who I think is a more of a CFL style quarterback. So it doesn't matter who wins the Calgary-Saskatchewan games, but it sure as hell matters that the Elks beat Winnipeg.
Now, LT, is it true Joni Mitchell lived in Maidstone for a bit?
Yeah. I can. If you and I had time, I would drive you right now and show you the house she lived in. It wasn't far from the church where I lived right across from, but I did not live there at the same time.
Yeah. That's cool.
She wrote a song about Maidstone, by the way.
I thought you were saying she wrote a song about me, and then that would have been way cooler.
Well, since I came along many years later, that would have been a hell of a. She would have had to be Houdini to do that, or who's the guy who can read minds? What's that guy's name?
Karnak the Magnificent?
Kreskin, that's it. Yeah.
Kreskin. Oh, yeah. Our bad. Should have known that one. Al, thanks for doing this. Go Birds, and have a great weekend.
Hey, you too. If you ever need obscure references you don't know, Connor, just call me.
What was his name?
What?
What was the name of the mind reader? Karnak?
No, Kreskin, the amazing Kreskin. Look it up. It's fantastic.
Thanks, Al.
Have a good weekend, LT.
Bye.
The amazing who? Kreskin.
It was the one I'm talking about is Johnny Carson bit. He used to be a mind reader and he would come out.
Didn't he hold it to his head? Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Good shtick. Keep the text rolling in here. 1-833-401-1440 into the EWEL inbox. That was around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. The big arch is here. Only at McDonald's. Do yourself a favor. You're driving home. Go get one. Enjoy yourself. It's the weekend. Maybe pair it up with a nice crisp root beer.
Ooh.
Or a Coca. Oh, no. You're going to McDonald's. You got to get the Sprite.
Get a Diet Coke at McDonald's for your old pal Wanye and have a sip and think, poor old Wanye. He's not dead, but he sure would like this Diet Coke.
Extra ice, no ice.
Gotta get some ice.
Some ice. Light ice.
Some ice. Mid ice.
Mid ice. We'll take a break. When we come back, more of your texts here. Man, Richard met his wife at Club Soda. Married in 1986 and still going. Club Soda.
What the heck was that?
I thought that was a drink.
On Candy Cane Lane and Gumball Street.
That's fantastic. 1-833-401-1440. Keep the decks rolling in here. It's the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook. Halley, Wanye, Declan with you here. We'll be back right after this. The show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Sipping gin and juice, just trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU. Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
And other heroes hiding in plain sight. GS Construction. But who are these supermen and women in hard hat? Why, They're the ones with the power to offer services such as infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and more. And when they're finished doing what they do best, everything is covered and invisible to everyone's eye. So don't look for them in the sky. They're out on the roads and in your neighborhoods. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Stephen Kruger with you here, wrapping things up on a busy show. In case you missed anything, go check out our podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get them from, or jasongregor.com. We had Chase Brown, Cincinnati Bengals running back. Not bad. Matt Barrett, play-by-play voice of the Oil Kings. They'll kick off their season tonight down in Lethbridge. Cameron Salerno talking some football. Zack, Gregor, Speck, and Low Tide. Man, it's been a busy show. We had a lot of fun. A lot of fun on the program today, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in and texting in. That certainly makes it a whole lot easier. Lots of content here, and we appreciate it. Army Darrell says, better see you guys at Tailgate 87. And I said, I'll try to swing by. And he said, bring beer. Don't be cheap. Cold pill.
Don't be cheap. Army Darrell, a man who said, I don't like laughing, Wanye. Stop being fun. Now wants you to bring pill. He's redeemed himself. That's the best beer in the market.
We got some beer in the fridge here. 6.1%. Blue Ice?
Come on.
I look at it every day. I should know what it's called. Maybe I'll bring those. Get rid of them because nobody else is drinking them.
Black Ice.
Black Ice. Blue Ice.
What the heck? You have Labatt Black Ice around here?
It's in the fridge.
I used to drink those in 40s back in the day. These kids today couldn't play Edward 40 hands. You know what that is?
Absolutely.
The best.
1440. I was thinking we could make some games about that, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be bringing that Black Ice. It's up for grabs. Nobody's taking it. I think Donovan and Brandon had one each, and they haven't been back to have another.
You drink a Labatt Maximum Black Ice, you drink it with a knife and fork. It's thick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You cut it up, you eat it in chunks.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
100%. 1-833-401-1440. I do want to mention this once again. It is the Sports Central bike drive going on tomorrow. A bunch of locations you can drop off your used bike, lightly used. They've got mechanics who are going to fix them up. And then next spring, give 1,000 bikes, hopefully, to kids in need. So if you have a bike, you haven't used it in a little while, maybe there's a little wear and tear on it, you can drop it off at United Sport and Cycle, Revolution Cycle, Bonnie Doon Shopping, or 3 found entire locations around our city. You can get the exact addresses at sports1440.ca, and man, we'll do some good. Right now, we're trying to raise 1,000 bikes. We're up to 614, only 2 weeks in. So 384 last week. Thank you to everyone who got out there and donated those bikes, and should be a good time. This weekend on Sports 1440, we've got the Saturday Sports setup tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I'll be there. Brandon will be there. Kate, the intern, will be there. I don't know if anyone else will be, but you can join us on the show tomorrow morning. And then we've got Blue Jays baseball coming through Declan, I think you got the schedule there. They're taking on the Rays tomorrow and Sunday, AM radio feed only. Gracias, amigo. 2:10 tomorrow, and then Sunday, 11:40 a.m. Wanye, we've had people say, guys, I love your NFL coverage on Sundays with Fox Sports Radio. I don't want to hear the Blue Jays. That's your opinion. That's fair. AM radio feed will have the Blue Jays. If you want NFL coverage, you just open up the old Stingray app. Maybe you use TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or just go to our website. When you stream, it's going to be Fox Sports Radio. So that's your way around it. The NFL coverage there is top notch. Former players chiming in, keeping you up to date. Think like Red Zone, but on the radio. They're just ripping around, keeping you up to date on everything that's going on. Certainly very handy for those of you who can't veg out on the couch for 7 or 8 hours like I do. It's the best.
You're the Shohei Otani of doing it, Connor.
We got the mini fridge downstairs. I got drinks, got some chips, and I'm set.
You got some of them weird Mountain Dews you like so much?
We have about 4 cans of regular Mountain Dew. Code Red's a special occasion drink.
It's not everyday drinking?
No. Can't do it. You cannot do that. Rob says Pacific Pill, best Pilsner.
Ooh.
Kill for the pill.
Pilsner with the rabbits. That's the best pill.
You guys should mention that Kate is spelled with a C. It's not.
Oh.
Unless it is, and I
no,
just put
it's
it
not. I was going to say.
I put it in my phone
yeah,
wrong.
It is not spelled with a C.
It is with a K. We've got Vance Van Der Van. I used to drink Pilsner. Then my mom got a job.
Oh, wow. You let your mom buy your beer? Loser.
My bud, Dr. Jeff, is cheap. He'll drink black ice.
One time,
Gotta go buy it then.
I stole my other older brother's Pilsner t-shirt. It said, "Don't worry, baby, I'm on the pill tonight." And then it had a rabbit underneath it. And I wore it to school, and they made me put on my soccer shirt. They said, "You can't wear that. It's too risque." And I had to put on my soccer jersey. Can you believe it?
That is actually hilarious. That's a very funny shirt. I'm on the
It came in a case of beer. I was like, how bad could this be?
Very good. Well, Kevin says, went to the Coliseum on September 6th. A's and Tigers. 15,000 fans on a Friday night.
Wow.
For a baseball game. Not great. It was Latino night. I bet that'd be a lot of fun. I'm just scrolling through here. We're just going back to our original conversation. We had Original 6. Who can remember the Bonaventure Rat in on White Ave? The Riv? Kingsway 70s best from Original 6.
It's all before my time.
King of Four Nasty says Nashville's was cool until they found out I was 16 and banned me.
Oh, come on.
But I was told you could just walk into these bars back then.
Nashville's was really cool. I love Nashville's. I can see from where I'm sitting where Nashville's was.
I missed it.
I would go to the bartender at Nashville's, Connor, and say, "Give me one." And he knew exactly what it was. And I would have a shot of vodka. That was it. Like a Russian sailor. I'm freshly minted 18. And I would go and live my life and talk to people. Then I would come back about halfway through the night and go, "Give me the other one." And he'd slide me another straight shot.
Tiger says we used to go to Club Malibu, but we are so wild, end up calling it Club Media. That might be voice to text. I don't know. Sounds like you had a crazy night, though. LC says the Forum was cool at 16.
The Forum? Like across from the old arena?
I went there. We went there once. I can't tell the story on air. I'll tell you after.
Fantastic.
It was eye-opening because they had like that club beside.
Yeah, Diesel Ultra Lounge.
Diesel Ultra Lounge.
Yeah, it's some of the best nights of my life.
They opened it up once for us.
I stood 4 feet from, I think it was Waka Flocka Flame inside there and didn't have the balls to talk to him, Connor. That's my mistake, not yours.
I don't blame you. Again, thank you guys for tuning in today. We do appreciate it. We got Fox Sports Radio coming up all night, and then tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., it is the Saturday Sports Setup. Me, Brandon, Kate, maybe Declan, maybe Donovan, maybe Brad Slater. Who knows? It could be anyone. You got to tune in to find out, getting you ready for all the action. Right now, though, we're going to get to one final Sports 1440 update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by Kids Sports 6th Annual Pizza Pig Out. Come taste the best pizza in Edmonton and area pizzerias have to offer on October 24th. Get your tickets now at jasongregorpizzapigout.com. Have a great weekend, everyone. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And one last time from me tonight, your Sports 1440 update. Utah Hockey Club has locked up Edmonton native Dylan Gunther on an 8-year extension for the winger today. The deal will begin with the 2025-2026 season. The New Jersey Devils signed RFA Dawson Mercer to a 3-year, $12 million contract. And in NBA news, Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed to a 3-year, $192.9 million contract extension that will guarantee the former MVP a total of $299 million through the 28-29 season. NFL news, the Baltimore Ravens did sign running back Justice Hill to a 2-year extension today worth $6 million, keeping him under contract through 2026. MLB scores right now, plenty of games in action. Reds up 8-0 on the Pirates. Blue Jays tied 0-0 with the Rays in the bottom of the fourth. Tigers trail the Orioles 3-0. Braves trail the Marlins by the same score. Twins and Sox tied 0-0 in the bottom of the third. And the Phillies, they're trailing the Mets 2-1. That one in at the top of the third. The only final from earlier today saw the Cubs and Nats. Cubs won that one 3-1. Hamilton currently leading Toronto 10-3 in the second quarter in CFL action. And the WHL will get going tonight. Edmonton in Lethbridge taking on the Hurricanes. A 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. Golden Bears action this weekend. Football tonight getting going in about an hour here as they take on the Regina Cougars at Foot Field. And in Golden Bear and Pandas hockey news, it'll be the U of A Golden Bears taking on the Dinos in Calgary tonight at 7. Then tomorrow at home at the Drake versus the Dinos at 7 as well. For the Pandas, they're playing the Dinos in the Drake tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop. Tomorrow, they'll be in Calgary with a 6 p.m. puck drop. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. The Saturday Sports Setup will be by tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Kevin Carius, Brandon Douglas back tomorrow, back Monday at 7 a.m. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty